Alright. What's up, everybody? With the next big Darktide update just around the corner, now's the perfect time to fine-tune our builds and get ready for whatever the heretics throw at us. So today we're going to be breaking down 3 of my favorite and I'd say the strongest Ogryn builds. These are what I've been running for late game. Each one fills a specific role. I've got Boss Shredder, Team Tank, and my personal favorite, we'll call it the Walking Firestorm. So let's just get right into it. Alright, so let's just get right into it. We will start with the Boss Killer. Perfect for players who want to focus on bursting down monstrosities and elites, basically without breaking stride. Weapon loadout. I'm running the Bully Club, but we can switch that for the Cleaver, and then the Kickback Rumbler works great also. Key talents, you could run bombs away, but heavyweight, deal more damage to bigger enemies, or Blood and Thunder, that's a big one. Stack Bleed for passive damage. So just to show the talent tree for our Boss Killer build. And basically all 3 builds run about the same start. The Boss Killer though, the only difference here is the linchpin, 50% coherency, toughness, regeneration. Basically all 3 of these, I'd say, all 4 of these that create the diamond are imperative for all 3 of my builds. Like I said, heavyweight. Let me go right back to this. So we've got heavyweight's a passive, plus 30% damage, which is pretty big against bulwarks, crushers, plague ogrins, and reapers. It's going to help us if we, regardless of what role we're picking, the damage reduction against the same is huge. Smash them, replenish 5% toughness after hitting a single enemy with a melee attack, increase to 15% toughness if it's a heavy attack. So basically with every swing we're replenishing toughness. I'd say this is imperative for all 3 of the builds. I won't go over these again. I'll just go over the variations with the new builds. Replenish 5% toughness after hitting multiple enemies with a single melee attack. This is increased to 15% on melee attack. Next up, basically I take anything that showed a node for plus the toughness or a percentage of toughness. We are definitely gonna take that and apply. So now comes the first to really differentiate what these builds do. If you noticed, they all 3. Actually, I don't think I'm using Frag Bomb for any of the builds. So for this one, we're running the Big Friendly Rock. Toss a big rock. We pick up a new rock every 45 seconds, and we can hold up to 4 rocks at a time. But basically, this is my debuffer, and here replenishes a charge if you hit a weak spot. So the more the merrier. These can definitely like one-hit some of the Carpus armored or unyielding enemies. Moving down, toughness, damage reduction. It's actually a requirement moving forward. It's just basically more damage reduction as we level up. So this is where my build really is different than most others. A lot of people generally stick to the left side, even when going for this build, but I wanted to add the plus 15% damage after every successful dodge. I dodge a lot, so we're getting a damage on a dodge, let's say against someone who's charging towards us. Can't hit me, plus 20% damage resistance versus ranged for 2.5 seconds after getting hit by a ranged attack. So we've got damage resistance versus our snipers here. Next up, we have 15 plus 15 toughness. Again, we could have done without it, you know, only taking these two and keeping an extra point, but the more toughness, the merrier. And same with this one. This is a plus 5% toughness damage reduction. And then lastly, keep shooting, plus 15% reload speed when reloading in an empty clip. So this is very specific to this build, and I'll get into it in a second, but basically sorry about that. Basically, we want to run the kickback. It's a single shot. It can have a slow reload speed, but I've invested into. It's got a fairly decent reload speed. It could be higher, but you know, since we're here, we'll go over my perks: plus 25% flak armored and maniacs. I could switch that to unyielding. Which, you know, that might not be a bad idea. But the full bore blessing, that's plus 30% strength for 5 seconds when every pellet in a shot hits the same enemy. So if I'm going up against a boss, I may hit them with the rock first, then charge to add the bleed stacks, and then I will hit them with full bore. And then switch to my melee to start swinging, so that way I can really apply the max amount of damage per second there. And then the fun, you could switch out surgical, but that's a personal preference, a favorite of mine. Plus 10% critical chance for every 0.2 second while aiming, stacks 10 times. So basically, on 5 seconds, we'll reach a plus 10% critical chance. That's or maybe actually that's 50%. Critical. So if it goes up 10% for every 0.2 seconds, actually we'll try it out when we're out there on the field. The Bully Club, plus 25 to unyielding and plus 25% damage to Carpus armored enemies, and then Confident Strike. That's going to be plus 8% toughness on chained hits, so as long as we keep swinging, and then that's synergized with our early skills that replenish our toughness. And then lastly, Thunderous. This could be replaced since they've like nerfed our brittleness debuffs, but they're definitely not as strong as they used to be before this recent update. But still effective, especially against our heavily Carpus armored and unyielding. That's why we're basically just maxing out damage against the big armored guys. That's enough for the weapons here. We can switch them out, but I think, you know, this is why I go for different builds. Especially for late game, I generally build a talent tree based around the weapons, so that way I don't think you're utilizing the build properly if we're switching out weapons. I'd say just build a new build or set a new talent tree. These guys here, so I could put more work into them. I'm just being lazy, but basically we want plus the toughness, and I'm adding one wound. These can be heavily increased. You know, there's blessings with plus 2 wounds or 3, and even here plus 20 toughness. I'm on the bottom, but it can be quite a lot of work. So we'll get in. Let's go over the perks. We got 4% combat ability regeneration, 5% toughness, and 15% corruption resistance. The corruption resistance is definitely going to come in handy, and every little bit of toughness counts, especially for if we're going to get up close and personal on the boss. Next up, we have plus the toughness. Plus 20% damage resistance to snipers and gunners. So one of my weaknesses is range. So every little bit of every little bit of resistance can really help us here. And then lastly, our perks for this one is stamina regeneration. That could be changed out, but I don't think he's got great stamina, especially when running and trying to catch up to team. Corruption resistance and damage resistance. I could actually replace the stamina regeneration for the bomber resistance. Alright, and let's get right back to the talents. So right off the bat, we'll just go over it again. Linchpin, That's plus the coherency to toughness. Heavyweight, adding extra damage versus the big guys, plague ogrins, reapers, etc. Plus 30% damage reduction. All 4 of these nodes here are imperative for all 3 of my builds. We're basically going down the line. The big friendly rock plus its add-on. This is imperative operative modifier. This is where things change a little bit for my personal build. Again, just remember this was all for damage resistance versus ranged, a toughness boost, payback because I tend to be a frequent dodger, and then keep shooting. It's plus 15% reload speed. This is such a good clutch node here. Moving down, we have our charge. This is going to add. So basically, we charge forward. We gain 25% attack speed, 25% movement speed. This is for 5 seconds. So after the charge is stopped, let's see what we have. So that's it for the charge, but with the stomping boots, replenish 10% toughness per enemy hit. So if we're low on toughness, we're going to run into a crowd, and then the bigger the crowd, the better, because that's going to replenish our toughness taken away. And then lastly, apply 5 stacks of bleed on enemies hit. So again, with a huge crowd, remember that we're applying 5 stacks of bleed on all of the enemies hit. That's going to come in handy with later skill points I'll show you. Rending boost, a necessity to move forward. Strike true, that's 10% melee weak spot. This is going to be great when we're getting in on the bosses. Inflict plus 2 stacks of bleed on melee hit, and then plus 4. So we're now getting into applying our bleed stack. So let's say you charge in. You automatically attach the 5 stacks of bleed on the enemy hit, and then we'll come in with batter. That's every hit we're attaching 2 more stacks of bleed. So then moving forward, the aura Bonebreaker. This is basically our 3 auras. One's for defense, one's for damage and range. This one is actually for melee attack damage for me and my allies. So anyone on the team, we're getting the plus 10% damage boost. So this build is really just I call it, this is the boss killer. Just get in there, apply the bleed stacks, and just start hitting hard. Plus 10% melee damage, again, necessity. This one wasn't, but just don't forget about it. We don't need to go all the way over here. This is range damage boost. This is for this side of the tree, but this is an extra 25 toughness that I think some people forget to just move over here and take, along with the melee damage boost. And then moving down, Delight and Destruction, that's 8% damage resistance per bleeding enemy in melee range. Stacks 4 times. So remember, we charged in with our skill. Pulverize, attach the 5 stacks of bleed, but that synergizes with this here. That's plus 8% damage resistance per bleeding in enemy in melee range, and that stacks 4 times, which is easily done. Let's say 8 times 4. That's going to be your total percent damage resistance when we're charging into a crowd. We're almost done. Heavy hitter, plus 3% melee damage for 7.5 seconds on melee attack hit. Basically, if we just keep swinging on the boss or monstrosities, this stacks 8 times, so we'll be 3 times 8. So 24% melee damage. That's pretty good, and then gain 2 stacks on the heavy. I stray away from heavy with this build. Heavy hitter, what I'm meaning by that is I stay away from heavy attacks. I focus more on the light attacks. And in certain situations, I'd say it's niche that I use it, but I want to generally increase attack speed and swing faster, because every hit will be replenishing, so that way that's my health replenishment, or that's me staying alive. Don't feel a thing. Heavy hitter also grants 1.5% toughness for damage reduction for each stack, so we're stacking that damage reduction for the I think for the bleed stacks on melee attack. Up no for heavy hitter. And then just getting started while heavy hitter is at 8 stacks gain plus 10% attack speed. So there's the speed that we need to increase our damage per second. And then lastly, impactful. So heavy hitter also grants 10% impact for each stack. That's the beauty right there. So basically, we're applying this 10% impact. There is no soft cap for each stack applied to for everyone in range. Pretty much, this is synergized off of heavy hitter. So on melee attack hit, yeah. So this is why it's called the boss killer. So basically, we're just hitting a lot of attacks, stacking our damage or buffing damage, and it's also got survivability. But we do want a good team, especially for late game. So that's basically it. This is our boss killer build. Just remember, here's our loadout. We're using a kickback and a bully club. This is applying a toughness replenishment and brittleness stacks. Okay. Alright, next up, let's just go through all 3 of them. This one here, what are we going to call this one? So I'll call this the team tank. We'll call it the wall of meat. Designed to protect your team, replenish toughness, and hold aggro. So basically, my weapon loadout, we're using the Delver's Pickaxe. I'm going to change this one. I'm not a big fan of the MK Law. Basically, there's other variations of pickaxes that give us different sprint animations, and I'm not a fan of this one, but it still does the work. Basically, Confident Strike, we're getting plus 8% toughness on chain hit. There's our replenishment, and then Limb Splitter. That's a fun one that I just threw in there. This could be changed, but 60% strength on your first attack every 3.5 seconds. So basically, we're delaying our attacks. This could be synergized with heavy attacks. So this, like, imagine your first attack is a heavy attack. It's basically, and there's a skill that lets us synergize off that to increase our damage output by holding the heavy attack even longer. But again, like usual, unyielding and Carpus armored enemies have a plus 25% damage boost in my perks there. And this is a weapon that I bought from the armory gray at the lowest, and then I basically leveled it up from nothing. So if you notice, this is an average looking weapon here with 300 to 400. It's maxed out, but when you buy a weapon that's from gray, the weakest weapons, if you take the time to level them up, look at the heavy attack on this one. We're at 479. Now look at the heavy attack on this one. It's almost doubled, 794. Definitely, and even the light attack at 318 to 401. And basically, you don't see that big of a margin, like a difference. That's huge, and I was very surprised. Someone kind of told me that if you take a weak weapon and level it up, you'll get stronger weapons, and that's based off of like the stats, not really base power. If you notice, his power is capped at 500, and maybe I'll make another video later on how to get past that. We're using the Rumbler, not to be confused with the Kickback. They are 2 different weapons. The Rumbler here is a grenade launcher, hitting flak armored and maniacs, and then targets receive 4 stacks of 2.5% brittleness on direct projectile hit, and then debuff lasts for 5 seconds and can have a maximum of 16. So you'll run 16 times 2.5, and that's what our max percentage is. Grenades stick to Ogryns and monstrosities, plus 15% damage versus Ogryns and monstrosities. Basically, that's allowing our grenades not to bounce off of the big guys, and it just sticks to them. This is a really fun build. Basically, for the weapons, I'd say the weapons really pull it out. Kind of a boring build for the most part. but it's for survivability and it's to keep our teammates alive. So these original 4, we won't go over them again just because we just did. Same thing, I'm going down the line getting the rock like previously. I don't ever touch frag bomb. I think it's weak, and then if we're going for range and explosives, then we'll stick with bombs away. Let's go down. So the first thing that is a little differently is our payback time. 15% damage for 5 seconds after successful dodge. Actually, that's the same as before. I'm a big dodger, so and we're going down the right side. There's no need to really focus on the same nodes that we did with the previous build. But strongman, 10% damage resistance on elite kill. So basically on kills we're getting damage resistance. This is our plus 15% toughness. Basically that's this is a little bit more defense instead of taking the replenishment or damage reduction, I guess. The first thing this is a big change is our loyal protector. This ability will taunt enemies within 12 meters, making them attack only you for 15 seconds. The effect repeats after 3 seconds and then again after 6 seconds. And then with our synergies on that, loyal protector and it repeats replenish 10% toughness, so basically we're replenishing on using it, and then additional 0.5% each 1 second per enemy affected. So if we use this on a big crowd, that's our toughness replenishment. And then be prepared because we are about to gain aggro for all this. Enemies affected by Loyal Protector take plus 25% damage from all sources. Basically, we just use this on the crowd. We're going up in our damage resistance, and now we want to utilize the damage buff or the resistance buff, and then maximize our damage per second. Moving forward, necessity coming down will be slam, 25% impact bonus on melee attack, staggering an enemy with a melee attack replenishes 5% stamina. That's it's a requirement for us to move forward basically. Ammo stash, increase your ammo reserves by 25%. Very imperative for what we're going for here. Reload boost. Again, same. This is because we're using the grenade launcher and it's only a single shot. Next up, Big Boom. Increase our explosion radius by 27.5%. So this is basically pairing. If I wasn't using the rumbler, then we might as well just get rid of all of this over here and we can focus on something different. So this is why I basically said earlier in the video that my builds are based around the weapon loadouts too. This is what it should be for late game. Mid game, that this is a whole nother type of gameplay to me. But so we've got our explosions, and then our lastly, your explosions apply 1 stack of burn, 2 stacks if close range, max stacks are 8. So we're applying our fire away. We're applying burn stacks. This is really fun, adding on to the grenade launcher. So I just wanted to increase the radius of that, and that's really it. Because we're not using you could actually get rid of the rock and replenish and replace that with bombs away. So that way, bombs away is running. It's synergizing with, but we've already got a build kind of built around that. And now we're back over here on the left side. So let's see. Hold on 1 second. Alright, so we're back on the left side. We'll go over the middle real quick. Our toughness, there's our 25%. Bruiser, that's 100% ability cooldown regeneration. So that way we're like maximizing our ability. 20% weapon swap speed. This is, I think, if only I could use this with the previous build, because I'm stacking so many buffs that and then switching my weapon, increasing that speed is just, it's all the more merrier. Because I'm going for the boss, I want to get there quick before my stacks start deplenishing. And then lastly, our push right here. This is basically, our pushes have plus 250% stagger. Can only trigger once every 8 seconds though, so just use it wisely. But it is great when you're in those when you're trapped in a wall surrounded by tons of enemies. So we've got our melee out Outpost, Frenzied Blows again. Basically, actually that basically all the same as before, to add on those bleed stacks, and or I'm sorry, not bleed, but to add on heavy hitter and then synergize off of that, basically adding melee damage on every melee attack hit. And then don't forget we're synergizing that with replenishing our toughness after hitting a single enemy, and then on top of our loadout we have, I think, Confident Strike, so we're gaining plus 8% toughness on chained hit. So we're gaining our toughness back. And for those of you new and aren't familiar with what toughness is, it's basically our second health bar. It's or if you're familiar with Borderlands, we have a shield, and then once the shield depletes, you're now hitting our health. And health is basically split with wounds. Like you may have 3, 5, 4 wounds within a health bar, and I'll show you that when we're in the game. One more build to go. This is my favorite one. Ooh, this is the burner here. Let me pull up whatever I have written down for him. The melter, the burner, walking inferno. Basically this one's pure chaos. We're applying fire stacks, explosions, and chain reactions if you like watching mobs burn. Weapon loadout, we're using the cleaver and twin linked heavy stubber. I made this build basically to try new weapons out and maximize their effects. Explosive, like key talents, explosive temper, fire stacks, boost your damage output. Spontaneous combustion, enemies explode when burning on death, and then grenade resupply keeps the fire flowing non-stop. Playstyle, light them up and blow them apart. Basically you're keeping yourself away from the mobs in range. But we'll go over. So cleaver is basically that fast. We're getting momentum. Hitting at least 3 enemies with an attack restores 15% toughness. That's huge. And then 8% strength for 4.5 seconds on kill. Stacks 5 times. So that way we're maximizing our damage output. They're not the. If you notice, his light attack's only 172. I've been meaning to take a. I think I've got one here. So here's an example of a cleaver that we bought that's gray. So instead of just, a lot of people will grind to get their drops, and then hopefully they'll get a transcendent weapon. But what I've been doing recently is just buying the weakest of weapons, a gray, and then maxing it out from there, empowering it, consecrating it, and then we're basically maximizing our stats. Not base power, but that's how we got the difference between these two. 401 versus 318 in light attack, and then 794 over 479, almost double on a heavy attack. So definitely very, very useful. And like always, unyielding and Carpus armored because of the heavy amounts of armor. You can't beat the 25% stack. This one's going to be fun. Same Carpus armored and Flak armored enemies for this one. Blaze Away, you're getting, and then Inspiring Barrage. Basically, for every 10% of our magazine spent, we're getting 5. We're stacking 5 times on toughness and strength. 4% on toughness, 8% strength. So we're just up 8 times 10. So we're getting 8% strength for, like, that's max. Actually, max stack is 50 or 5 times. So let's see, 8% strength for every 10% of magazine. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, wrong math. 8 times 5, 40. So we'll be at 40 if I'm right there. 40% strength is our max with a 5 stack, and then 4 times 5, that's 20% toughness replenished for every 10% of magazine spent. Basically, if we're aiming and we're shooting, we're getting toughness replenishment, and then that mixed with our talent tree here. So this will be the last tree we go over. Only thing different here than before is the 12.5% toughness regeneration while bracing your ranged weapons. So if you have it in hand, you brace it. That's replenishing our toughness. That's going to be a necessity here with this build because there's not a lot of toughness replenishment and we don't want to be up close and personal with this. Bombs away, so we are using the bombs. We've got bigger box of hurt, so plus 3 more grenades released. Basically just big explosions. That's synergized with our later nodes that we've got spent. So let's go down. Payback again, nothing that we haven't seen here. Keep shooting, plus 15% reload speed when reloading an empty clip. We need that for this. This weapon that we're using has a really slow reload speed. And then like before, we're basically just getting plus 10% damage resistance on elite kill or special kill, and then toughness boosts. And it doesn't look like there's a stack for this, so last 5 seconds basically just on the kill. This one's where things are a little different for this build. Point blank barrage swaps to and reload, so basically you can unload the full weapon and then hit the ability. It automatically reloads without having to wait. Plus 25% rate of fire, 65% reload speed, and 50% reduced brace movement speed. That's amazing. Just a bunch of buffs here. 15% close range damage for the next 10 seconds. That mixed with our fire bullet bravado. While point blank barrage is active, replenish 2% toughness for every shot fired. 10% toughness on each reload. So this is, again, we need to maximize our toughness replenishment, and this build is very particular. We want to just keep shooting and reloading. This is not your Ogryn melee build up close. And lastly, the most important thing here is light 'em up. Ranged attacks apply 4 stacks of burn while point blank barrage is active. Max stacks are 16. That's insane. So basically we're applying 4 stacks of fire or burn for each shot on our weapon, and we don't want the single reloader. This is going to be maximized because we're using a fully automatic weapon. Reload boost, we're increasing that reload speed coming down here. Increase explosion radius, and our explosions apply stacks of burn, so we're basically maximizing that burn. Ammo stash is imperative. We're just basically increasing that 25% reserve. And then lastly, coward culling, plus 20% damage against suppressed enemies for you and allies, and coherency, plus 25% suppression dealt. Next up, we have our range damage boost. This is basically just like over here with our melee build, but we're coming over here, and if you notice, all 3 of the builds we're utilizing that plus 25% toughness. I say it's imperative, just take it. And then bruiser, we're basically we need that. We want to maximize our cooldown regeneration for this skill since it's heavily reliant on the skill. Now we can focus on the right side, basically maximizing range damage boost. Hitting 3 or more enemies with a single attack grants plus 15% reload speed. That's going to help us. Reloaded and ready, plus 15% range damage for 8 seconds on reload. So basically our reload is giving us toughness. Our reload is replenishing, basically adding up to range damage. And let's see. Yeah, reload speed, range damage, and toughness. So Spray and Slay, plus 15% melee damage and 7.5% melee attack speed for 6 seconds after emptying your clip. And then our last 3 here, these 2 will be synergized off of Burst Limiter Override. This is a 15% chance of triggering Lucky Bullet and not consuming ammo. This is amazing. It synergizes super well with our fully automatic. So basically, you'll just keep spreading, unloading, and certain bullets are just not being taken out of reserve. So we're basically just maximizing damage per second, and then that synergized with our ability up here. Point blank barrage. It's gonna basically we're just I've seen bosses health bars just dwindle down to nothing with this skill. On killing melee attack, gain 10% chance to trigger. Lucky bullet on next shot stacks 10, so we're definitely like maximizing. So basically on our melee kills when we switch over, we're basically saving ammunition. That goes a long way, especially on a team reliant game like this. And then maximum firepower, our last ability, 100% ability cooldown reduction for 4 seconds when lucky bullet triggers. Basically, be mindful of every time the lucky bullet triggers, which will be happening a lot here. We're getting our ability back, and then upon using that, we'll reload, and then just keep going. Now, be mindful, this will suck your ammo dry, but that's basically it. This is our 3 builds. We went over. This is the melter, so the cleaver and the twin linked heavy stubber. All 3 builds are using the same inquiries or the curoses, so I wasn't going to go over those again. We just go a little bit further back in the video. Here is our, I'd say, tank / team reliance. Like, we're just basically adding more toughness replenishment to our team and then just taking aggro for everybody. It's an okay build. And this one here, this was my first prize child, I say. Like, before we got all these updates and the new DLC content, he was definitely a bigger threat. But now my new threat's going to be this one. So let's just get right into it. I think we'll start off with this build. We'll just go down the line. Which one did we go over first? Actually, yeah, let's go over the first. We'll go over this one first, even though we talked about it second. So let's just get this one out of the way. This is gonna be the loyal protector. Taunt enemies. We're gonna taunt. We're gonna increase our damage output, and basically with this synergized with stay close. This is a plus 15% toughness replenishment for you and allies in coherency. So here is our team player. Let's just get right into it. Let's see if anybody's actually online. Does it look like it? Okay. Since we're max level, I might as well just come over here and check out what's being hosted. So we have a 1 through 10 final troll. Okay. Let's just go ahead and send the request for it. So basically these missions here are harder missions or variants to basically, if you're playing the game and you haven't made it to level 30 yet, the mission terminal is where we would go to play our main missions. I usually go to quick play and just put it on damnation or heresy. That's like basically our max levels, or that's our difficulty. 1 being the easiest, 2 and 3, etc. 4 and 5 are our most challenging. But yeah, this is where we'd go. But if you've made it to your max level, late game content, that's what these builds are really heavily focused on. So right now we're waiting on one more person to join our strike team, and then we're going into these, let's just call them prestige missions. Basically, if you're familiar with other games where we make it to max level and then we have our own prestige level underneath that. Let's see if I have mine here shown. It's actually not. I think I'm a max level 30 with a prestige of 20. Let me look.
Do not waste
current assignment rank is 21. And so basically, since I'm in the 21 range, that's mission levels 20 to 30. And they can be fairly hard. Next up, I think, I haven't made it that far yet, but I think there's a 30 to 40. And then max assignment ranking is going to be 40. And just while we're on the ship, if you're also new to the game and not familiar, to pending player request, okay. I'll let him deal with that. Alright, let's get into it. 16 to 11, Havoc 1. So these are gonna be definitely testing our player skills. But we've got some good builds, and let's hope that they shine in this. So remember, with this build, I'll be really in my attacks, I'll be delaying with my attacks, and that way I can maximize that plus 60% melee damage boost on first strike.
The phage tree in Hab Block Laranax is an increasing concern. I can't have operatives bringing its blight aboard ship. You will gather data from the area, allowing us to create a blessed unguent of shriving.
Alright, this is exciting.
Do try not to make a muddle of things.
So I've played this game since day one. Since the beta, so we've gone through so many patches, updates, etc. If you're not familiar with the game, I just hope this is a good, like, maybe a gameplay showcase of what the graphics look like, the gameplay's like. It plays a lot like Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood. Games like that, World War Z, etc. We'll go ahead and get our ranged weapon out. And just remember, this level, these challenges are not really meant for they're hard. So I always say stay on your best feet, or stay on your toes. Be a team player too. Don't stray off too far. So my first strike, if you look at the bottom right corner of the screen here. Alright. If you want to dodge, basically I'm using a controller, an Xbox controller actually, so I'll tap A left or right. That initiates the dodge, which applies that melee boost stack. If you notice, I'm applying fire stacks on my shots that I shoot. Oh. I wasn't looking behind me, so let's go ahead and replenish toughness. Therefore, we replenish that top bar is our toughness. We want to make sure that that's always. We want to make sure that's maxed out. If that depletes, then we're now moving on to our health bar. All right, if you hear that noise, that's going to be a bomber. So usually with the bomber, we just want to push them like so. I didn't see one, but we'll showcase that skill when we get there. Basically, the bombers can do some devastating damage. Basically, you just want to block and push. That's spam the push. That's the same thing with the dogs. Oh, missed on that. And then I'm applying basically fire stacks. If we hear the dogs, basically remember with the dogs we want to block and spam that push. He's around here somewhere. Uh-oh, there he is. Ooh. He'll be back. Oh, there he is. Alright. Oh, Netter. Well, let's hope my teammate... I didn't see him. That's really bad. Ooh. This is where the team reliance comes into play. I walked into that one. That's on me. Cool.
My thanks.
Same, let's just send a thanks. Oh. I don't need ammo actually. I think my reserve is 33. Alright. Moving forward. This is actually pretty decent. When you're into late game missions, it is so team reliant or team heavy though. So just be a team player, don't stray too far. If you noticed how quick it was, I had full health. I did lose a wound, so if you notice one of my health bars is purple. I got a total of 5 that I could use. Let's tag. You can tag ammo. Basically, if anyone needs it, letting them know that it's right there. Alright. Alright, I hear a bomber. Usually I just always get prepared. This replenishes a wound. I could wait, but let's just keep ourselves max health right now. Alright. Basically, we'll be following the floating skull. Uh-oh. Oh! I dodged backwards instead of left and right. Okay, big guy here. Alright, first attack. If you use a special, your special is your click. That does count as a first strike also. If you look at the bottom right, there's a handle emblem. I wasn't with me trying to describe or paying attention to other things. It's just late game we can lose so quickly in this. Let's hope that our teammates come out on top though, because I see them replenishing. Ooh, almost died there. Yeah, these guys don't play. Oh no! I'm almost there! Come on! We can do this! Let's go! Yes! So I used my taunt right when I stood up, so that way I replenished my toughness. Let's keep this out for now, so that way I can keep some knockback on crowds. Oh, another dog. Oh, there he is. I'll save him. Yeah, so, and I don't want, like, I guess one of my pet peeves is people thinking that the game plays, I guess this isn't Call of Duty, so like no matter how great of a player you are, this is never meant to be a solo game. This is so heavily team relied on. You can have the best build, but the minute you look away and let's say a pox like the dog gets you, or the scabbers which nets you, it's just a single hit. So with that in mind, it doesn't matter how great your toughness, there is no skill that lets you out of it. You're basically relying on your team. So, you know, I've got friends that I play with, and that really maximizes our enjoyment of the game, you know, especially with late game. But just, like, I just can't stress enough how team-based or how heavily relied it is on just staying close with teammates and just being prepared to heal or being prepared to revive, sharing ammo, and upon other like stimulants packs that you may be running into. Just be mindful of what other characters and their builds are doing too. If you know that there's a zealot that's a boss killer, leave the tomb for him. Yeah, just things that you'll learn over time when playing, but I always try to at least stay with one of my teammates. Ooh. Yeah, so my damage output's very well, especially with the pickaxe. I think the pickaxe is definitely one of my favorite weapons. That's melee. And I think there's a lot of Alright, here comes the dog. Oh, he was behind me. Yeah, it's hard to tell, you know, you'll hear him. Here's another dog coming. So let's just push everybody back. There's the bomber. If you notice how he went back, that player just basically blocked and pushed the bomber away. Attacking the bomber is going to make him explode and do massive damage to you as the player.
I can give you elocution. You like? Speaking lessons if you like. Thank you.
Alright, so my place to help potion down. This dude's just dancing away. Okay, let's pull out our grenade launcher. Things I feel like maybe getting a little sweaty here now. Oh, what do you know? First attack, buffed. So basically, if you look at the bottom right, every time I attack, it takes it away before it replenishes. Now if I wait the full 3 seconds or 2.5, now it's applied. Now this attack, this will apply the first strike plus 60% damage buff. Every 8 seconds is basically my 250% damage or stagger. So that's basically, I should have it now. Yeah, when I push it applies. Alright, we keep some. Let's take a stimulus here. I haven't had to use my rock yet, but let's just use it on this dude. Rock's usually a one-hit killer. It is a debuffer. Basically, if I'm going into a boss battle, maybe we can hit a weak spot. That does synergize with some of our other nodes that we put into the skill tree. Alright, we'll go this way. And the rock, the cool thing about that, we don't need grenades since it replaces our grenade. Oh, they're coming. Let's go ahead and apply this. We push them all back. And that lasts about 4 seconds that it takes for them to get back up. Then maybe after the other 4 seconds we wait. And then this is our change strike. Basically we're replenishing toughness after every hit. And this is what I meant by the pickaxe. There are other sprite animations, but for this one that I picked, it's basically your downward swipe. You do have your heavy swings. That could... Alright, so let's save our teammates here. Those snipers are crazy hard. Ooh, I'm getting stuck in a wall here. Alright. Alright. Hopefully I didn't come out too soon. Stay behind wall. Keep hitting them with their grenade launcher. They'll eventually pass. And just... Yep. And remember, they're applying burn stacks with my explosions. For this build heavily relies on the rumbler instead of the kickback. You could switch it up, but it's kind of a waste of those nodes by using a different weapon. Alright, let's shoot. Alright, Scabber, if you hear that noise, that's the net. Oh, he got me. Alright, let's go ahead and shoot this guy. And with this build, always be mindful of your ammo. I mean, if you notice, I don't have a lot. So there's a bomber nearby. Ooh. Better. Yep, we've got 15 plus the 1 bullet. There's the scabbers. They're deadly. You get them mixed with a flamer or a dog, they can really do some damage. So let's take some ammo. I mean, we've done fairly well with this build on this matchup. Really good showcase for what I'd say is our most boring build. It's a little bit of everything. We've got our rock for the debuff. We have some explosion stacks and range, fire burn stacks. We can apply a little bit of bleed stacks. Its main use again is for its toughness replenishment for the team. This is a team-based build. His aura lets all of our team and everybody, basically everybody in the team, replenish 15% toughness. And that's basically base with everything. Alright, you hear the bomber? Oh no! The scabber got me. That's so bad. Yes. Thank you, team. So I'm talking about, let's use our... Ooh. Let's try not to get caught by another one of those scabbers. Basically, ooh, let's see if we can't use this. Alright, let's replenish some ammo. Ooh, I hear a dog. Now, let's just go ahead and start. Really just, if you notice, I'm separated from my team. Not great. Let's get back over there to them. There we go. And that basically is how, like, I used my taunt in a crowd. I applied bleed stacks, or I'm sorry, I applied my damage buff and resistance. That stacks with every enemy hit. And then if you notice, I'm basically dodging left and right every so often. That's basically allowing me to increase my damage output by 15% on every successful dodge. So a successful dodge could be like this, and then you can see the stacks being applied at the bottom of the screen. Every 8 seconds, just remember we have our... Alright, we're getting surrounded, so now's a good time to use our taunt, increasing our damage speed and our damage per second. Basically, it's increasing our strength and our damage speed, or attack speed. Alright. Nice. This has been a good team, very good team. Like, you know, a mission like this could really just destroy us if we didn't have a good team that we stayed close. There wasn't one person that was overzealous that just charged ahead. We don't need any Leroy Jenkins in these games. It doesn't work. Alright, let's move forward. Don't ever get stuck behind. There will be mobs and mobs and mobs that come. Meaning, basically what I'm saying is you could get stuck in an area and not know that your team has left you behind. Alright, we want to get the Ogryn. Alright, let's get these guys out. Pick up some ammo. Oh, Netter. I hear him. I think he's behind that tube there. Let's see. Alright. Oh, I got stuck behind. Let's go catch up. Oh, let's push them. You're stuck. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be stuck on a bridge like this with a netter. That will be the end of us. Alright, he hung back. Appreciate you. Alright. Where are we going? Ooh, there they are. Okay, that's good to know. I have a feeling that this may be an ambush coming up. That things are about to get hard. I usually go in circles and then applying my dodge every so often to apply my damage stack or buff. So let me just push these guys down. Here comes a dog. Just remember, he's gonna charge, dodge. Uh-oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Bad showcase there. I should have probably spammed. I should have just spammed the push. That tends to work out better. Tight areas don't work well when the dogs come at you. Good game. So I think we completed this mission. And I mean that's a gamble. A lot of these missions here for the prestige, I always call them our Havoc assignments. Man, I lose a lot. I'm not gonna front there. I'd say this was a successful one, and I want to put it on the hardest difficulty. Alright. Mission reward. That's a really good showcase for this build, I think. And remember, this is our tank build. I wish that it would show us what their levels were, not just their base level. We know everyone's a max level to be able to do these missions. So basically, if we're all on a team together, they should be basically just showing us our assignment ranks, because we're doing special missions that are past, like, basically it's late game. So that was our first showcasing for the tank build. Team Tank is what we'll call him. Again, this was utilizing basically the Loyal Protector ability, which taunts enemies, making everyone attack you with synergies that apply. Basically, this modifier replenishes our toughness, and then this modifier here basically is increasing our base damage from all sources. So with our resistance, and we're applying with the resistance, we're adding another stack of base damage behind that to maximize our output. Basically, DPS, damage per second. And then our aura here, this was the important thing for the build. This wasn't meant to be a solo badass build. This is just meant to keep the team alive like we just did. I basically breezed through it, you know. We didn't have any real challenges in that mission, but this is adding the plus 15% toughness replenishment for you and allies in coherency. But everything else is the same with the melee output. Only difference was we have the aura and we have a different ability that taunts. So moving on to our next build, let's showcase number 2 here. This is the boss killer. We'll save the best for last. So the boss killer here, we're using the bully club. We're applying stacks of brittleness. We're adding plus 25% damage to, what does we got here? Okay, let's take it. I forgot I was still in a team. So basically, we'll get back to it, but we're maybe I can actually show it before we head out. The Bully Club, so plus 25% damage to both Unyielding and Carpus Armor. Unyielding is a type of armor, and then Carpus Armored enemies too also. This is gonna synergize with our hitting an enemy, basically Thunderous, which hitting an enemy gives them 4 stacks of 2.5 brittleness debuff, lasting 5 seconds. It can have a maximum of 16 stacks. And then we're basically 8% toughness on chain hits. We'll go back to the nodes in our skill tree to show how this synergizes with maximizing our toughness replenishment. But lastly, the kickback. We want to hit every bullet. Ooh. Well, we're out. This might not be a good mission. We're basically short one person. It's not good to do late game Havoc missions with a bot. And generally, when these missions start, unlike the quick mission assignments, you can quickly join those, and it will naturally log you into it. Ew, that's not looking good. I hate starting these missions with a bot. That's unfortunate, but we'll just have to kind of like pick up the pace and just make sure we do a really good job here. So we're using the kickback. This is applying, if you notice on the bottom left right corner of my screen, every time I aim and brace myself with the weapon, you see the number going up and it stops at 10. I'll release and it's gone. I hold it again, bracing my weapon, and it's basically going up. That's the 3 seconds right there. It takes 3 seconds to apply 10 stacks, and every one of those, if I'm not mistaken, we can max at 5 stacks. That's 50% to our critical hit chance. This is great for snipers, or basically to max the thumper here. That's what I'm gonna call it, a thumper, because that's what we use on the tabletop. It's basically like a huge shotgun with a big spread that hits heavy. This is my sniper dealer. This is basically my build to keep me alive instead of my team. If we're all late game, everyone has their really good builds, and they just need me to be the boss killer, and I can just focus on my role. When you're in a party, you're all talking together, you're on mic, you have a good team. That's where the roles really come in handy, instead of us just running in and just having just random fun. Let's go ahead and hit this dude with a rock. Go ahead, apply it, and let's just go ahead and shoot. Now we charge. Don't know where my team is, but alright. I wonder where everyone's at. See how fast that reload speed is there? Here comes a scabber. I mean, if I got you in sight on the center of my screen, most likely with the critical stack, it's gonna be a one-hit kill. We're just like exploding fools. I mean, I'd like to say all 3 of my builds are exceptionally fun. I mean, this is why I play with them. Yeah, I'll keep my melee weapon out right now. Well, I see some guys over here. Let's pull the grenade or the rock out. Ooh, here we go. Alright. Alright, the cool thing about the Rumbler, or I'm sorry, the Thumper over the Rumbler. Ooh, you got him. The netter. Okay, I was gonna save him, but he's good. Ooh, these guys are bringing some heat. Alright, here the Alright, now's the time to pull out my melee weapon. When things start getting heavy, I'm going to focus on my light attacks to basically keep my toughness replenished because I'm taking so much damage. Be mindful of these snipers here. If I have a chance to be able to... let's just go ahead and charge through. Increasing my attack speed. Basically increasing... which is increasing my toughness replenishment. Alright. Let's go save our team. Is there any snipers out here? I see something. Ooh, the netter got me. That's not good. Yeah! Sweet, I thought we were goners. Ooh, not good. We need to get up close and personal, start replenishing our melee or our toughness. Basically, with this build, the Lorenzo is a plus, but we really are focusing heavily on our melee. That's going to keep our toughness replenished. We barely survived that. This, like I said, it's not going to be a great matchup with a bot running in this. I should have quit, but then you're also penalized for not following through on these special assignments. Basically, the guy shouldn't have rushed into this mission without having a fourth party member. And he was spamming the button, just trying to get into his matchup. Like I said, if you're going to play the game, be a team player. This is a team game.
I'm still with you, boss.
Ever faithful, eh?
Alright, we get points on reviving others, being a team player. Alright. Let's go back. The cool thing, if I don't brace myself, I like the spread on this weapon here. So I've got 18 shots left. I'm sure I'd like to save it for the snipers. Here we go. Ooh. Always go for the big guys first because they just generally do so much more damage. Then the heavy armored, those are the ones that are also generally, if you have Carpus armored or unyielding armored enemies, they do heavy damage, especially if we're rolling up on an Ogryn. Okay. So we're alive. If you notice, I've breezed through it pretty easily for the most part. Yeah, this is very challenging, but that's expected for late game content here. Let's just charge through all of these guys here. Ooh. Let's get back down there. Save some of our teammates. Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, be mindful of bombs. They can blow you off the ledge. Ooh. Sweet. I do need ammo. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Yeah, I took my eyes off for a second, and that quick, a scabber got me. If you saw, I was looking right at ammo just to replenish and pick up new ammo. I got 36 shots though, so we're looking pretty good. Alright, so here's some more ammo. Perfect. Now we're at 47. With this weapon, I'd say it's a mix between a shotgun and a sniper rifle. Ooh, let's see. Let's get them. Alright, pull out the melee to replenish our toughness. but ooh, being surrounded a little bit. I haven't actually. I should probably stay close to the health station since I'm by myself right now, and just be mindful of dodging a scabber or a dog. Because usually, you hear it. There he is. Oh, he almost got me. That was wild. There he is. Scabber dead. And then usually behind scabbers, there's some flamers that will generally like do some massive damage to you while you're on the ground, or it's behind the dog. Let me just kill all these guys here so I can replenish this homie. Now if you notice, I just did my charge and it just increased my attack speed like heavily. This is generally, we want to find a boss. Hopefully we can go up against some kind of monstrosity. That way I can showcase the real damage output for. I just keep swinging until they're all gone. All right. Oh, a flamer. Just like in the tabletop, flame generally doesn't miss, and it ooh. All right, so the bomber was behind me. Good thing I have good teammates. Okay. When you hear the loud grunt or the roar, that's clearly a... Ooh, there's a flamer. That's clearly a charger coming at us. Right now what we're trying to do is hold our line and bring in the other power source over here to restore the power. I'll go over there and see if there's anything laying around, just in case they haven't picked it up yet. We push. Okay. Oh, those guys will throw some pretty big bombs. I forget what they're called. The scab bombers. I don't generally add the resistance into my Kuros for the scab bombers, just because it's generally pretty easy to avoid. It would help in situations where you're netted or the dog gets you, but alright, so we held it down. Let's hope we find a boss so that way I can showcase some of the skills here. Ooh. And if you notice that toughness bar, we just always want to keep that healthy, because if that's down, then our health bar will go next. Health, you do need to, it doesn't replenish over time, unless you maybe had a healer, someone who can heal us. Ooh, we want to get rid of this guy. And I'll only do the heavy attack if I'm going against a monstrosity. Okay, I'm gonna heal. There is also another blessing that you can add to the shotgun. Basically, since this is the boss killer build, I'm applying a damage buff on hitting every spread bullet, or every bullet in the spread on one target. But you also have the ability, if you hit 3 or more targets, to get a damage buff. But I don't focus on that. But that's just another option or a variable here. But like technically like late game, if we're talking late game numbers, they're being maximized. You know, a 5%. Let's say a 5% damage might not sound like much, but then if we're talking 5% on 2,000 damage output, well, that's a pretty big damage buff there. So it's almost like in Diablo 2, like there's, when making my Jabazon, 1% damage buff. People are like, why? That's not really that big of a buff. But with late game, when your output damage is so high, that those percents really start adding up. Yeah. And that's what this build is maximizing on. Basically, when we're on that big boss, or dang, I was hoping maybe a big guy like that, this would be a good way to showcase if I hit him with my bullet spread and every bullet in the spread hits that one target. That will give me my buff. Also, just to be, not to forget about my critical hit chance after every 2 or 3 seconds on a brace. Ooh. Let's get these guys out of here. Increase our attack speed and get rid of, and you see how I don't want anyone to overlook how easy it is that I'm slaughtering these like Carpus armored or unyielded armor enemies. I mean, I'm applying brittleness on each hit. I'm basically making it look like it's easy. I'm not a great first-person shooter game player. Basically, I rely on builds. That's usually where I shine. I'd hate to go this whole match with the boss killer build and then not have a single boss. Alright, let's see what's around us here. Alright, the bulwarks, yeah. Those guys, especially when they're Carpus armored, oof, they can do some damage. But thankfully we have answers for all of that. That's what our build was for. This guy, you can actually use the spread on him, hitting all bullets. I'm just leaving him to the team to deal with since, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So let's go ahead. Alright, he didn't survive that. Another way to showcase your builds is the meat grinder. Someone actually kind of just taught me this yesterday, but you can practice your numbers. Kind of, they'll show you your output of damage. So remember our pickaxe. You can actually, there's a blessing I have attached the first strike plus 60% on your first strike every 3 seconds, I think. That mixed with your heavy swing, which basically on your heavy swing holding the button, that however many seconds you hold it multiplies with your damage output. It's really cool. Let's charge through all these guys. Let's pull our rock out. Maybe. If I can, oh, I just made short work with all these guys. Yeah, this is what I love about, I mean, hey, we're in a Havoc assignment late game and we've got a bot with us. I think we're doing pretty well.
Too much dulls my fur.
I'd say we think one of our teammates is really good. So I don't wanna, I'm not trying to boast or anything. He's really good too. He's generally kept himself alive, has lots of wounds. He's been a good team player. Sometimes even just one good teammate can really just make the difference. So I'm gonna keep pushing through, focus on my role. This is not a tank, this is a heavy just damage output. We just want to keep killing everybody and charging forward, and then everyone else can just basically run behind. Ooh. Let's get him out of the way. Alright, so now I wait. Now we're at 10. We're applying that critical. Ooh, let's get our rock out. Ooh. Yeah. And that's the beauty of the rock. I prefer that over, honestly, the rock over the grenade all day. Even though the grenade I have set to my favorite build. Let's charge through. My charge is better. Cool. We're gonna go save our teammate there. Alright. That's our critical hit there. We'll pull out our rock. Let's pull it out again. Oh. I mean, this thing generally does one hit everybody it touches. Let's see if there's someone else that needs a rock. Who want it? Oh, that dude? I mean, who needs a sniper when you got a rock? Hey, fool! Oh, these guys, they're running, huh? Who want it? Go through. Oh. Dodged him. I'm making late game look like it's... I'm making late game look easy. This isn't level 1. This isn't sedation or heresy. We're gonna just run through all these guys. Yeah, get it. Go after the big guys first, always. Alright, we hear the dog. Alright, we got him. We don't have that push like we do in the previous build that allowed us to really do the extra heavy 250% stagger. But let's just move forward. And then now we've got our ability back again, so that was pretty quick. Hey, I'd be really surprised if we actually like beat this with like with all that we have. All right, so we need to focus on snipers. They're out there. Oh, I got the demon host. That's not good. All right, he's here. Ooh, oh, that's not good. Get the rock. Yo, hopefully. Ooh, this is bad. What luck, man, you know? Let's go. We can do this. Demon host ain't got nothing on us. Bro, this is the boss killer. That's what I'm saying. And this is like late game missions here. We've got a bot on the team, so we're handicapped. We're at level 30 missions, and we're not on your early easy difficulty by any means. Again, we've got our ability. Let's use the benefit of attack speed. Dog, there he is. Get some. I mean, I've kept my toughness up the whole time. I don't think, yeah. Unfortunately, we did lose a teammate. But that's expected with a bot on the team. So, ooh, let's get that dude out of here. Yeah. Man, I really just love to showcase this build here. Like, yeah, I had previous builds that I was just getting so badly wrecked in late game. Especially when we started getting into a Havoc Assignment. Once we got into like our assignment level like 20 and above, I was losing back to back, so I was having a hard time keeping my rank up. Alright, so we got the flamer out of the way. You saw how quick he was taking away the toughness. That was rough. Alright, moving forward. Always... I was about to say, always look behind you. You never know. Oh! That's... Ooh. Where is he coming from? Ooh, here we go. Let's just charge through this whole pile. Switch. Ooh. Let's get these guys out of here. This isn't gonna be easy. And then the sniper comes next. But if I keep swinging, this is why I focused on light attacks instead of heavy attacks. Ooh, dodge snipers. Basically, that's how you stop yourself from getting shot by them guys. Like, I'll just do my heavy strafing left to right. And that's what the kickback's for, instead of the rumbler. The rumbler, I could basically spread out the crowd, but the kickback I focused on actually doing that damage, especially when I brace myself. Like the Crusher I just took out. He's fully armored, if you noticed, but I'm using that benefit of the plus 50% critical chance. That's the beauty behind this build. I don't need to focus on picking grenades up. I just have usually an infinite supply of rocks, and then every 4 seconds or 45 seconds. Oh, that's right, 45 seconds we're replenishing our rocks. Whoop, missed. Better keep moving forward. Here's a charge. I might actually be fully stocked on ammo. Cool. Oh, dog somewhere. There he is. Shucks. He passed me. Oh! It was glitched. What the heck? We're glitching over here. Oh no. I'm not replenishing my health. Yeah, something's going on. I think the internet. Alright, we're replenishing. Let's go over here. Alright, we're back. Woo, that was close. Like, I just want that to showcase, let it be known that, like, how quick we can die off of a lag, off of a pox, like, dog, off of a scabber netting us. The minute that you let your guard down for just 1 little second, that's basically can be, like, your death. And now we're just kind of heavily relying on our team. But if you notice, we're with a bot, so we're kind of handicapped. Yeah, let's kill this guy. Brittleness stacks. Brittleness attacks like every hit. Again, with this build, we're just focusing on light attacks regardless of what the damage output is of the heavy attack. We have one more build after this. Basically, after this mission is over, we have one more mission we'll jump into with our last build, and that one's going to be my personal favorite. Let's hope we don't do too bad, you know. Really, once you charge through a mob and apply those bleed stacks, it's basically game over here with basically everyone in the mob. We're applying bleed stacks on everybody, and then we're getting a damage buff on every stack applied on each individual unit, or each individual model in that unit, and then we're also getting our resistance. Same thing. Basically applying bleed stacks on every hit and with the charge. That's how we're maximizing, basically how we get to call ourselves a boss killer. With the fast attack speed, with the damage per second, with the bleed stacks, basically and then even the debuff from the rock, it's all in our favor. Alright. Let's pull this bad boy out. So, oh, I wasn't looking. Reload speed, if you see, like, I'm pretty happy with, this is a single shot, almost like a single bolt action rifle. Ooh, ogre. Or, sorry, sniper. I was thinking about Ogryn stuff. Basically, their shotgun would be a sniper. Alright, let's charge through here. Save everybody. Eliminate this whole crowd. I hear a bomber. At least I thought I did. Let's push these guys. Okay. Hey, we're not doing bad. This is pretty cool. I thought we were going to get our butts whooped because we had a bot on the team, but let's just charge through these guys. I'm going to use it every time I can. I think that's generally what I tend to do wrong with this build when I do play the boss killer. I forget about the charge and how heavily effective it is. Even if it was just to attach that, if you're going into that boss, charge, hit him with the rock first, and then charge at him with the football tackle. If you have enough time, hit him with that spread on the shot. So basically, we're gonna go from the rock to the football charge to the spread on the shotgun, and then you pull out the melee weapon and then start attacking. I think that's the end of the mission. I don't get to really showcase that skill there. We'll do one more with this build actually. Yeah. Let's see if anybody, I'm reaching out to some friends, see if they want to join in. Yeah, I'm gonna do another one with this same build before we move over to the melter. Melter's gonna be super fun. I'm gonna want to do 2 of those too. And not to take away from that first build, the reason why that first one's boring to me is because it's strictly for survivability. If you're basically just trying to make a build that is for basically just for defense, to be a tank, to apply a lot of defense, because I don't want to, I may play another mission with him, but I'm not sure. I may just stick with I may stick with the boss killer again on this one here, and then run the melter next. So yeah, the things we focused on: the rock, the debuff, the charge, applying basically our bleed stacks. This also is gaining plus 25% attack speed and movement speed, plus 10% toughness per enemy hit, and yeah, basically we're replenishing health. That's our heal, or keeping ourselves alive, and generally just knocking out a mob, a crowd. I'm hoping that we can do a boss fight coming up with this build. That's the best way to really showcase. But you know, we did do good. Like we were in late game, playing against I mean, we're over here doing a Havoc Assignment, so they're not easy, and we held off a demon host. So that's to me, that's impressive. And I mean, she was on me, because like whoever hits her, she's gonna target that player. So basically, I'd just recommend hold the guard, keep parrying, push her back. That works really well. It works very well whenever you're running this build here, because of the plus 250% pushback, on basically adding to our stagger. That's on, let's see if I can find that. It's down here somewhere. I think it's here. No pushover. Your pushes have plus 250% stagger. So this is a really good when you're going up against bosses, for sure, big crowds. But not to get sidetracked, we're going to do another boss killer. So just to show you, this is our build here, where the only thing difference over here is we're adding the plus 50% coherency, toughness, regeneration. We've got our rock. We've got our charge. That's a bleed stack and toughness replenishment. We have our aura that's adding our melee attack damage for me and our allies. Melee damage boost, basically adding more toughness, and lastly our heavy hitter. That's our keystone. So we're adding our melee damage for 7 seconds on melee attacks, stacks 8 times. Basically also grants toughness, grants 8 stacks of basically for attack speed, and then heavy hitter also grants 10% impact for each stack. So we just want to get in here, swing, not heavy swings, just this is meant for light attacks. And let's see if there's anybody available. Let's see what missions are being showcased here. So we got wow, we got some hard ones up here. 40. I'm not even that far up there myself yet, so that's insane. I wonder how hard those missions are. 14 final toll. Let's see what this is. Will we lose or can we come out on top? I'd imagine. Alright, doesn't look like they took me in on that mission, so let's come back in here. Party finder.
Without hesitation, without doubt.
Yeah, they went out on an assignment. Let's see if we can refresh. Yeah, you know, I am curious since we're in here. Let's just go ahead and go to the meat grinder. I'm curious. Let's just showcase what this is.
Oh, go away. Can't you see that I'm busy?
Okay, so we'll set it to heresy. I've actually never jumped in here before. That's pretty cool. So let's stick with the boss killer. I want to see how this looks. Charge heavy does. So we attach bleed stacks. That's what those extra numbers were. So we could do 417, 434 on a Carpus armored enemy here. Now, that's pretty cool they do that. Let's see if he teleports back. Alright, let's take a look at our DPS. Just on, so 889 DPS on a Carpus armored enemy. Ooh, 1360 on a Carpus armored. Oh, that's because I hit in the head. So criticals do apply. So basically our damage per second, it looks like, is 13 on average. That's a Carpus armored enemy. Let's see what we apply on a regular guy. Let's try this again. DPS was 710. 729. So 1,000. Basically, I'm getting that damage buff from the plus 25% Carpus armored and plus 25% Carpus armored and I think unyielding. I can't remember. So now let's see what happens if we do a full spread. Switch. Okay, let's try that again. Let's spread everything and... Okay, so the shield definitely... I didn't know that. It actually stops all damage. So you definitely have to get behind them then, huh? So 162, that's not really that accurate. 13, 16 damage per second. I guess that buff must really be because he's a Carpus armored. So I'm wondering what it would be with him. 15 damage per second. Okay. Now let's try this. We're gonna test out the blessing, a full spread, switch. It still seems slower. It does. Maybe that would apply better to a boss, or if we were just maybe switching. But now let's apply the stack here, and then what are we at? 1135. Let's see what we have. A Cellar T-stem. Damage per second is 193. 15. So that increases our attack speed. So now we're doing 15. Alright. Let's see what a heavy swing is starting off with. So 1199 damage per second. So it's better if you notice that we just do as the stack of the light swings, basically, is what I'm like getting at. So now let's charge. What was that? 14. So that definitely killed him quicker, and it applied. I guess that was 14. Let's kill this guy and get a new one. I'm gonna do the same to him. Let's try something else now. A combat stem. Apply the combat stem. We'll buff in, and then what was he at? Ooh, 2,700 DPS. Wow. 1653. So basically the charge, adding those bleed stacks and then going in for the fast swings. Now let's try something else. We're gonna go for the rock. Yeah, okay, let's see if we can increase this. So we'll pick up another combat stem. We're gonna throw the debuffer, run stack, and then that was slow because I had the rock, but yeah, that wasn't a good showcase. So I wonder if the rock actually adds any damage. Alright, 610 damage. That's not bad for throwing the rock. So let's hit him with the rock, charge, and then get in there. 2-2. Wow. Alright, so I'm seeing basically the order of things. We want to throw the rock first. We want to charge in, applying the bleed stacks, and then going for the swing. And then obviously we can maximize that with the combat stem. While I wait, let's see how critical hits apply with this. Let's go with this guy here. Whoa, 2524. That's a critical. And we're maximizing that. Basically, when you see me brace, it's going up to 10. So that wasn't a critical. Again, it increases the chances. It doesn't always mean it will, but that's pretty big change from basically there's a critical 2619 and then a regular hit at 382. Let's see how that applies with an unyielding enemy or a Carpus armored. So we've got ourselves 900 on a critical. Not a critical. Not a critical. Alright. Let's test this out then. We can aim. Charge. And then swing. Yeah, I guess I just don't have the same reload or the same swap speed as I do with the other build. So let's, yeah, that's a good showcase for that. Let's go back to, since we're going to go to this one, we're going to showcase this one first before I show you any numbers on this build. But we're going to go back to the tank. I'm going to select him. And let's first and foremost try out our first strike. Oh, that's basically one hit, 1050. That might be his max HP though. So let's try it with him. His max HP is 900. Ooh, alright, 2250. Wow. So, I mean, don't be confused. That boss killer is relying on the brittleness buffs. It's relying on like attack speed, which can be applied through the charge from bleed stacks. Also applying our strength. So this one is relying on, remember, first strike every 3.5 seconds. That's plus 60% damage. So we just one hit crit a Carpus armored Ogryn. Okay. Let's increase the difficulty. I want a full-on showcase of... I want to do the same thing. Just want to make sure the enemies are at its hardest. But this is a really good showcase for... Let's go back in here. Let's go to the meat grinder. We're going to go to damnation. That's going to be our hardest difficulty. And this is what we were just doing with our Havoc missions. So nothing new here. Let's pick up a combat stem. And like before, first strike, charge. We're sitting at 1200 DPS there. And this, I guess that's just based off of our initial strike. Alright, didn't one hit kill him, but 2624. That's what's expected of our damnation enemies. 3-1. Ooh. 3597. So we're doing some big damage here. Let's see what we have. And first strike. Ooh, 2-2. Basically what I was testing out was I get plus 15% damage on a grenade shot. Ooh, nice. So we just did 3,000 damage there. Remember, we increased the range of our explosions and we apply fire stacks. So this is how we're getting rid of mobs here. It's got kickback, spreading, basically adding a delay to our characters, and then basically using that stun to our advantage. This isn't a fast attack speed, but this is... Let's see what we can do versus one of these guys. A Carpus armored... Oh, this is a flak armored. Okay. So 2,000, we basically got it in one hit. Oh, here we go, these guys. 3,000. So what's really, the benefit to this is you're not going to keep constantly swinging. I mean, if you're in tough situations, it will replenish our toughness, but we're utilizing our basically our initial first strike swing. And even a first strike swing without a charge to it, we could increase these numbers now. We could actually... Let's take a look here. I mean, we could get rid of the confidence strike and then replace that with the plus damage, basically the strength boost for our heavy swing. Like, for every second that it takes for us to use the heavy swing, it increases up to 20 or 30% strength. that along with the 60% strength, so we can really maximize output, but with late game we really need a way to replenish our own toughness, so I'd rather minimize our damage output to keep ourselves alive. So basically, yeah, that's our first build that we went through here, using the rumbler with the explosion. This is damnation stats here, by the way. Like, it's gonna, for the most part, with the burn stacks, I wonder if it would kill the maniac. Yeah, it does. So, if we shoot them with the explosion, more than likely it's gonna kill them. But if anything, it's gonna weaken the whole mob for us. And with the burn stacks, and even with our taunt, oh, I didn't even use the taunt yet. So, let's just try this one good go around before we go back over to one more round with the boss killer. So we've got the rock, apply, stack. Ooh, I messed that up. 3, 2, 1, 0. So 3,210. Yeah. All right. Hey, that's amazing. So basically, that we're using that first strike to our advantage and just one hitting people. So let's just get out of here. Unless, let me make sure we didn't. Let me make sure I went over everything with this. Yeah, basically just applying the taunt. We'll do it one more time. What was that? Dang, I missed the number. Oh. Yeah, I missed it, but it's alright. Basically, we're getting that average, though. Operative. Let's see, him. We're utilizing the rock. Yeah, we showed the DPS. Let's just look at it one more time for this one. I'm basically running into the charge, and then 3600 was our DPS. Basically we're charging in, applying the bleed stack, and just fast swings for attack speed. So that's enough of that. Let's exit this and go into another match. Alright. Let's show off our last build. And that's gonna be the melter. So this one basically, just to go over real quick, this is our reliance. We're getting toughness regeneration on bracing the weapon, so basically holding and shooting. That's going to synergize with our loadout's weapon, the twin linked heavy stubber. Specifically, we've got Blaze Away and Inspiring Barrage for the blessings. They're maxed out at level 4s each, but for every 10% of the magazine spent during continuous fire, stacks 5 times. Each one's going to apply 8% strength for every 10%, and then other one's going to apply 4% toughness for every 10%. And basically, if it stacks 5 times, you're just going to take that number, 8 times 5, that's 40% strength, and then 4 times 5, that's going to be 20. So we're getting 20% toughness for every 10, basically for the full 5 stacks. That's going to synergize very well with our talent nodes. Specifically, let's move forward. Well, real quick, don't forget we're using bombs away. We're throwing grenades, big explosions. We have point blank barrage, increasing our rate of fire, reload speed, and it can reload itself. This is basically the replenishment of 2% toughness for every shot fired, plus 10% on each reload. That's a really great with this gun, and then the synergy is going to stack with our our blessings. Lastly, we're adding the 4 stacks of burn. So just to keep in mind, we're basically just shooting, trying to unload a clip. Adding the modifier lets us stack burn, and then the benefit is once we unload the full clip, we are getting our buffs. That's where our strength buff is coming from, and that's going to go well with the dagger. And the dagger's not meant for damage output, it's just meant to keep us alive in mobs. We're not meant to be melee, so we just need to stay alive, and I was going for attack speed, and that's what the dagger's for. Ammo stash, reserve, etc. Basically, the aura for plus 20% damage against suppressed enemies for you and allies, and coherency. And lastly, our keystone is burst limiter override, and this is huge for this build. This is what's going to keep ammo in our reserves. Basically, we're triggering lucky bullet, and then that stacked with maximum firepower. This is going to 100% ability cooldown reduction. That's going to keep this ability over here active, so that way we can just keep reloading for free, basically keeping our reserves full and maximizing DPS at a range. So this was an underlooked build. I didn't think. I thought, yeah, this is a beautiful build here. Momentum, hitting at least 3 enemies with an attack restores 15% toughness. So if we're in mobs, we're every 3, we're replenishing plus 15 on every strike. And then we're getting Slaughterer. That's our 8% strength for 5 seconds on kill, and that stacks. So basically every kill we're stacking and increasing our strength output. And that's it for just another quick rundown of this build here. Let's move on over and see what Havoc assignments are being posted. I can't wait to show this build off. Perfect. We're heading over. We've got a full party. I see we got 3 Ogryns and a veteran, I think. And Havoc assignment is 4. So these are definitely, you don't get to pick the hardness of these because they're already, for anyone that's new to Havoc assignments, these aren't your quick waiting for all players. These are our missions assignments that you can choose between sedation, heresy, up to damnation. This is after all of that. Basically, once you make it to level 30, you now have the ability to do Havoc missions or Havoc assignments. And these generally are harder difficulty. They go all the way up to like a prestige level 40. If I was the team leader, I could kind of go into more detail of each individual party member and what their roles are, and yeah, but so we're running 2 Ogryns and I think 2 veterans. Not a big fan of 2 veterans. I wish it was like a zealot or a psyker, but it is what it is. Oh, okay.
The heretics are getting ready to move the supply train out of Manufactorum HL 1736. Now, we can't have that, and the Emperor knows we can use those supplies for ourselves. So
and I never know how these missions will go. Not when it's late game. I mean, if it could be as quick as one bad party member, and then that's basically it. That's basically the end of every. That could be the end of a mission. Like, here's a flag. I had a guy that was in a party, and then he put in the group chat that he's lost his last 20 missions straight. Usually that's
and that's a user error, you know. And the sad thing is, like, he's in late game and he's saying that he's lost the last 20 missions, so that means him and the other people in that party have also lost the last 20 missions, or they haven't lost that many, but basically 3 times 20, you know. I can't expect everybody keeping the same mission over and over with the same member, but that's how many times they all lost too. And I went and played with him a few times, and all few times we lost every mission. He was hella zealous, just ran and charged in, and really, it really weakens the team if you're not all together. Because a lot of times people are running after you, trying to keep up, maybe trying to keep you alive, but lo and behold, we're kind of just running into mobs and waves of enemies that we can't keep ourselves alive from. So this build focuses on keeping yourself at range. You replenish toughness when you brace a weapon, and then also when you empty 10% of the clip, along with strength. You get a we get a buff in strength. Oop, sniper. Alright. And this one's really fun when we start getting into using our skill, but I just want to always be mindful of... Ooh, we got ourselves... Whoa. Alright, maybe now might be a good chance. Yeah, I just don't want to waste my ammo this early, so let's focus on replenishing our toughness. If you notice, I'm bracing, and that's replenishing. Normally, any other build, if you're into just swinging non-stop like the previous builds, and staying up close and personal, then those are the ones you want to focus on. Because you'll be replenishing toughness on every hit swing. They're gonna be a mob here. We'll kill him with the dagger. The dagger is great because of the slash ability. I thought I heard a scabber, but I don't see one. Yeah, so some weapons apply impact, some weapons apply slash, meaning that they can cut through mobs. Impact can like kind of pierce. I hear the dog. Hopefully our teammates will get it. Sometimes I don't look behind me, but wow, the dog's still alive, huh? There he goes. Basically, that's how you deal with the dog. You just gotta push him down. That will leave an opening for you to kill. Knockback is huge. I think it's an overlooked skill in this game. All right, we hear the scabber. I haven't really had to use my main skill set yet, but let's go. Let's go now. We'll apply all the burn. This is showcasing my DPS with the ranged weapon. We just want to keep shooting no matter what. Using Lucky, that's going to replenish. It's replenishing, like if you notice, look where our ability's at already, and we just finished using it, so. Alright. And I'm still sitting at 330 in reserves for our ammo, so that's really not bad. 312 with 812 inside the... Should I go and see if I can't kill this dude? Yeah, let's go! Look at that. I took away half his health. Yeah, we just destroyed a demon host on late game. basically I destroyed it. Man, that was crazy. And this is like, you know, this is a Havoc Assignment. Basically damnation. Ooh. Yeah, dodge those guys when you can. We haven't had to use any of our grenades yet. Man, that sucks. I didn't get to use one of the heal stations. There's only 4 available, so if there isn't one available, usually that means someone took 2 for themselves. Alright, let's go ahead and do I need to use skill again? Oh no! No! Oh, that really wasted. Let's throw a grenade. Hooah! Explosions! Grenade again. We're gonna keep explosions. Oh yeah. This is why this build is my favorite. Let's throw another one. Can't let a... Ooh, brace ourselves. We gotta keep... Oh, we gotta reload. Come on, baby. Alright, let's go. We're back. We have our toughness replenished. That got a little heavy, but... Then remember, if you go in there with the same... with the same mindset as you do with melee builds, you're definitely gonna lose. This is a ranged build set, so definitely keep your distance. Focus on applying your stacks. All right, let's just keep moving forward. Alright, I hear something. There he is. Run! Okay, we don't have our grenades, but we do have a special. Let's go. Let's go. Get some, fool. I'm not going to be able to kill him without my teammates, but I'm doing some work, that's for sure. Yeah! Look at that, dude. This thing is a boss killer too, you know? This is late game. I can't stress that enough. It makes me happy when my build works, you know what I mean? Here he comes. Dog! Huh! Dodge! Yeah, man, when a build works and you're in late game and you're not the one dying or being that guy, like, that's a good feeling. Whoa, is this dude stuck? I think he's stuck. Wonder how he got back there. Oh no. We got a teammate down. Hey fool. We gotta go without you, dog. This is how real world works. Peace, y'all. I'm out this hoe. Let's reload. I don't see this as an ambush spot. Oh wait, we already came through here. Actually, I will admit, I do get lost real quick in this game. It doesn't take much. Ooh, okay. Here comes more dogs. Might as well take all the ammo I can get. There he is. Keep an eye on the dog. Here he comes. Alright. Here he comes again. Oh, get it. Yeah. Keep an eye on him. He's gonna come back. Oh, he got me. Oh, I can't believe it. Yeah, that's so quick too. I will admit this build does not hold damage well. How did that guy get down there? If I'll brace, look at my toughness being replenished. So just remember that's the way to replenish your toughness, not swinging with your weapon. Generally, me swinging with this, I'm only gaining toughness in big mobs on stacks. Ooh, let's go ahead and destroy this mob over there. Oh, I don't know where they went. Oh, they'll probably be coming this way. There they are. Oh, I hear. Oh! Alright. Another one.
No threat now.
Yeah, I'm basically moving slowly forward because we don't want to go too far ahead by ourselves. That's dangerous. Let's get over there. We've got our... Okay, let's reload. So these guys are still focusing on helping that guy, which that's fine and everything. Uh-oh. We gotta run. Ah! Dang it. Get away from me. No! Ah, the netter came out of nowhere. Alright, so I may be dead. This is why we don't want to move too far forward. Ooh, there's no way out of this one. Yeah. It looks like they saved him at least. So, for the team, I wasn't being a team player. But Vimpy looks like he's down. Is that right? I'm dead, guys. Oof. Yeah, let that be a good showcase what happens when you stray out by yourself. But in the meantime, let's watch our other teammate. Basically, they can rescue me in 4 seconds. Yay! Let's see what else we have. Ooh, nice. That's a sick weapon he's got. That thing really does some damage. So right now, I'm at the mercy of... This is me. I'm over here spectating until they come and get me. But I definitely didn't want to just hang back. Because, like... I mean... Because that guy got stuck. Uh-oh. So it looks like he's using... Basically, he's using... It looks like the same build as my boss killer minus the kickback. And he's using the rumbler instead. I see he's got the taunt active. Oh, that's nice. He's got lucky applied so he can shoot 2 grenades at once. Let's see what everybody else is doing.
Ammo! It's just above the production nexus. Big guy. We're supposed to do what is best.
Oh, that's a nice weapon. I'm working on a zealot now. The Thunder Hammer build. He's only a level 6 right now. I just created the character. Basically, I've been on Ogryn since beta.
Ammo crate.
Let's go back to our other Ogryn and see what he's up to. Grab the crate. Yeah, I mean, this is basically what late game or end game like prestige levels look like.
Ready for another round, pal?
Alright. What's up, fellow Ogryn? Let's get all these fools. I'll stay close to teammates this time. But generally, if you notice, all of our builds have done exceptionally well. We're in late game hard missions. We haven't had any real challenging moments whatsoever, I don't think. I think for the most part it's been luck based. I can't help if you turn around the corner and there's a scabber there. And then if you aren't with your teammates, there's really nothing you could have done. That's user error there. I'd really like to. This is by far my favorite build. Surprisingly, that very first build we played with, the one that was putting out the output of 3,500 DPS, but it is for a single swing. It might look like the DPS is better for that weapon or for that build over my boss killer, but the boss killer generally is going for lots of attacks. Oh, okay, we got. Alright, let's push some of these guys back. Things are getting a little heavy. I got some grenades too. Whoop. Dodge. Let's get it. Oh, actually, I used all my grenades. I didn't pick any up. The problem with playing with different builds, I'll generally ignore grenades when I see them on the ground because I play with the. Oh, there we go. I play with the build that uses rocks. In fact, I use 2 builds that use the rocks. So my mind just automatically goes to not wanting to pick those up. Let's get some ammo here. Alright, Alright, I hear a dog. Keep our backs to the door. There he is. Ah! Dang it. And that's really all it takes. One dog or a scabber, and that could be game over for you. Thank you, Ymir.
Parameters almost met.
Alright. This build, it's not meant for up close, but if you saw how I took out that demon host earlier, man, this thing can really shred through. Alright, we hear a. Oh, there he is. We pushed him. We didn't get a. Oh, he's gonna be coming around here somewhere. Alright, so we definitely survived that one. Hopefully that's a good showcasing on what to do whenever those bombers are coming after you. Just make sure you hold your block and just shove. Same thing you're gonna do with the dogs. Just spam that push.
Good work. You can get to cooling control now in the consignment yard soon after.
Got a present for you.
Alright. Let's reload while we can. I imagine that things are gonna get a little heavy. Keep our ammo maxed. And I'm gonna stay with our buddy Vimpy here. Remember, if you're playing Darktide, never stray off by yourself. Alright. He's basically using like a heavy artillery machine gun that you'd see on a tank as his personal arm weapon, which is pretty badass. I haven't really had to use my skill but a few times. I like to save it because it does dump through your ammo heavily. And if you just remember, without ammo, this build is not like you don't have a build. Basically, I don't care if I don't see anybody in sight. That's our toughness replenishment. If I don't focus on that, that's my defense. Also, it benefits me to spend 10% of my magazine to apply a stack of strength. Also, applying a toughness replenishment up to 5 stacks, if you remember. Ooh. So at least we do replenish toughness on big mobs. The fastest, I think, attack speed. Ooh, dog got me. I think the dagger for the Ogryn might be the fastest attack speed. So if you were able to make some kind of build built around attack speed or generally increasing that, that could really make your DPS. But I think that I've found the perfect, numbers in my... Ooh, here we go. We've got ourselves a boss. Yeah! This is what I'm talking about. Get it! Oh, dude, we just make such short work of bosses. It's just not even fair. I wish that... Yeah, that's so sick. I just want more. More monstrosities, bigger monsters, Ogryns, etc. Come on, buddy, let's go. Ooh, I forgot to check my Tamagotchi. Gotta check my Tamagotchi. It's a bad time. They always need me at the worst times. Uh-oh. Here we go. Okay. Tamagotchi has been taken care of. Ooh. Where are we at? There we go. How dare you. Alright. Flamer is dead. We've got a sniper dead. Yeah, see, these guys will sneak in when you're not looking. Ooh. Let's go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh! Ooh. Pull out the weapon, brace it, keep the toughness high. Sweet. Let's reload. Alright. There's a health station that we need. This is basically the end of this mission here too. I'll do one more with this build. Since this one's my favorite. And we really got to show you a lot of the numbers for... I don't know yet. Maybe we'll go to the meat grinder. Not sure. Let's just go ahead and start unloading. I'll show you what the skill does also when we're close to empty on the... Alright. Basically close. And then we can reload and then just keep shooting. But I basically just wasted that skill. It's awesome. Ooh. There would be enemies right when I stop shooting. Alright. Sweet. I mean, the dagger is great. It's wild that it's only running like 162 as its base of light attack, but with the attack speed, I guess 162 times 2, I imagine I can get 2 hits in on the time it takes me to do one of the pickaxe. Alright, let's go ahead and just start unloading these fools. We used our aura. Oh. Definitely just keep unloading. Doesn't matter. And then switch. Because we've got the stacks applied for basically unloading our clip. Let's reload. Alright. I think this is the end here. Alright. Yeah. Missed out on that Ogryn kill. Alright. That was a messy round. I'm gonna run it back with the same build here. Yeah, I would feel real comfortable with that. Okay. Cool. So, like a lot of these weapons, I'll just generally end up scrapping for parts or selling. Maybe go up on my currency. Nowadays, I don't bother with the weapons that are dropped because, like I said before earlier in the stream, I'm just gonna go straight to the armory and purchase something that is that's going to be as weak as possible, and then we're going to take those weapons. So basically I can go to the armory here, buy any weapon I want. We're gonna basically see if actually not even this, we're going to go to Brunt's armory, and then I'm just going to buy something extra cheap like so, whatever it is that you wanted, and then we'll run it over here to the shrine. You entreat it, so the one that we just used, we'll go to the bully club here. So let's run to the dagger. Let's run it back, consecrate. I've got the currency, so let's just go ahead and run it. I'm gonna make it max rarity, and then we're gonna empower it.
I trust you are pleased by
I think my mastery, if your mastery is maxed out on the weapon, you should be able to. You should be able to. Hold on, let me just empower that weapon. I was almost there. Oh, here it is. Empower. And we maxed it out. I won't get into the refining and re-blessing, but just take a look at that light attack. Oh, I think we can actually consecrate it one more time. There we go. And one more. Now we've officially maxed it out. Heavy attack is weaker than the one I'm at right now, but if you notice, look at those stats. The only thing that's weaker is first target, but mobility is better, penetration is better, basically everything's better. Light attack is at 222, that's what we want. I should equip it, but I'm not, because just because I don't want to keep my team waiting, and it would require me to basically re-bless it and change the perks, which is very easy. I just don't. It takes maybe a few seconds, but that just to give you guys an idea of what happens, and I haven't fully upgraded that weapon all the way. Basically, we max empowered it and consecrated it, but we still have some more work to do with it. But that's just to showcase. Take a gray weapon, buy it from Brunt's Armory, and then run that up to max. That's gonna have statistically, like on stats, the hidden, like almost like hidden IVs and EVs for like Pokemon. They're like, it's, from what I've seen, the stats are better on those weapons. I'm looking past the initial power or attack, the strength of a weapon, but it does generally, it tends to be higher also. So there is, yeah, just a lot of benefits there. I'm hoping that this video, this live stream, was a good like tutorial for basically Ogryn players. 3 good Ogryn builds that I'm showcasing in late game. Basically like max hardest difficulties. Not the hardest. We could make it even harder by we can make it harder for sure. Special assignments. Yeah, I'm gonna do 2. This is the last one that I'm gonna do with this build, and I'll call it quits after this mission. I did 2 with this one because it is my favorite build. I wanted to showcase the melter. Like the last match, we literally by ourselves took out a demon host, and with on a Havoc assignment. So. And I like to, and if you're catching the stream late, well, let's go ahead and just apply that. We're using our special skill now. Alright. So this is a harder mission. This is where my Kuros comes in handy, like where we want to increase our resistances here. Basically, that stuff will keep spraying. If you need like Grimoire resistance and something else, I forget what this stuff is actually called. The poison. Generally, not honestly a great build for this mission because I don't replenish toughness on every hit. I picked the range, so I'll have to be a little bit. I'll have to play. I have a little bit different of a play style here. We hear the charger. Let's reload when there's no enemies around. We don't have a rock. Alright. Yep, and if you're not into ranged with the Ogryns, then this build here isn't for you. But if you're into fire, explosions, if you want to maximize DPS with a ranged build instead of melee, then this is definitely the build for you. Oh. Yeah, this one, it's too easy to get stuck or get left behind. Poison clouds will literally destroy you. Just stay close to the teammates and let them revive you when it needs to. This is basically what a end game mission looks like. Alright, now we pull out this weapon. We've added the stacks for strength. Man, I'm surprised that flamer was still alive for so long. I just sometimes I rely too much on my teammates thinking that they'll kind of do their work. Well, that's so not cool. Those scabbers, man, they can get you. Alright, we gotta run through the poison. And this is where my Kuros's like stamina regeneration comes in handy. We don't want to get left behind by the team. Oh no, I'm reloading. Bad time to reload. Okay, let's go ahead and... Ooh. There's grenades. Let's throw a grenade. Let's throw another grenade. Alright. Alright, it's time to run. Get out of all this before we die. This isn't good. Basically, we're starting with like no toughness. Alright, now let's go ahead and start unloading. I always forget, you gotta brace with this weapon. That's how we keep our toughness replenished. Alright, let's reload. Cool. Now here we want to find the demon host before they have enough power. Oh, that sucks. I needed that. Yeah, so we have to be mindful of our... basically our lack of ammo here. Let's let our team know we need some ammo. Oh, okay. Let's keep moving forward. Alright. Yep. Ooh, that was my fault. Oh, there's ammo though. That's what we needed. So basically that last weapon that we made, whenever we're done with this, to end the stream, what we'll do is I'm going to go add the last blessings and perks to that dagger, and then we'll go to the meat grinder just to show you the numbers that we were doing here, and then we'll call it the end of a stream. Pretty successful. We didn't lose a single match. We did late game, basically Havoc Assignments. Which is level 30, which is your level 30 game or end game content. Oh, I tried to push them at the last minute. Basically, if you remember, just spam that push button if you're trying to get rid of the dogs. Alright, so there is another dog somewhere. I really haven't had to use... Let's pull out my grenades. I have a feeling we're going to need them. Hey! Explosions, fire. Ooh. We hear a bomber. Here he comes. Push him. Boom! And that's how you deal with those guys. Doesn't matter how great your armor is. They can knock you off a ledge and kill you. Uh-oh. Go! Yep, we gotta just keep those bullets coming. Maximize our DPS and then switch. Because we apply those stacks of strength for 10% of the magazine. Also, our toughness replenishment is applying for every 10% of the magazine spent. We do need to reload, so let's go ahead and do that. Uh-oh. Oh god. We might be in trouble here. Yeah, we're surviving though. Let's go. This is our ranged build. Hey, he's doing work. Alright, we need to definitely go back up into toughness, dodge, pull the grenade out. Ah! Usually if you throw it right beside yourself, that just gives you a little bit of stun back. Like basically, it keeps the crowd at bay. That's great for, it's a good defense mechanism. Uh-oh, I hear. Huh! Dodge. In your face, fool. Alright. Just want to chop through all these guys. Let's go heal ourselves since we haven't used the health station yet. Uh-oh, where's he at? Bomber. Okay. Alright, we're doing pretty well. Alright, let's go. These dudes are coming. Let's go. Alright, I'm running back. Reloaded. Get ready. Let's see if my teammates can handle it. Uh-oh, grenade. Probably one of my favorite things about this game is the music. Let's save our skill, not use it. In fact, let's not waste too many bullets either. Here he comes. What's up, buddy? Alright. Alright, so we see scabbers. Let's get that flamer back there. Ooh. I saw a flamer back there. I just hope that they got him. Hey, this is... Oh yeah, got the scabber. He thought he was gonna net me. Alright, let's reload. I hear a screamer. There he is. He's coming. And boom! He's coming. Oh, he got him. Alright. He's coming. Dodge. In your face! Alright, let's get out of here. Oh, this was great. Great Scott. Alright, dude. Let's go. We've got 65. We don't have a lot of Let's let people know we need ammo. Let's see what people say. Hook it up, guys. I'm a ranged build. I need ammo. Oh! I accidentally hit that bomb. Or did I? Let's go! Oh no, this isn't good. We gotta get out of here. Getting stuck in these poison clouds is really bad. Ooh, that's not good. Alright, we're out of it. Let's pull out our ranged weapon. This is where we're gonna replenish our toughness. Okay, we're back. So things will get a little spicy here for us. Let's go. Ammo. I'm gonna have to be mindful of my ammo. Oh yes, let's go. Let's tag it so that way everyone else knows that it's here for them. Oh, we're ready. Oh, let's go. We got this. Let's do this. This dude's about to go. He don't even know. Throw some grenades just in case. Hey, you don't even know, bro. You don't even know. thought. Oh snap, flamer. Oh snap. Alright. We're good on ammo. Oh, that dude got it. Alright, let's go. It looks like poison clouds are about to come. Let's get out of here. Ooh, nice. I like that this thing just pops them in half. Pop, 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 pop. Alright. Let's get some health. Remember, you don't replenish health. You replenish toughness. So it's just when you need it, take it. But if your teammates need it, I mean, just be mindful of what teammates need. Oh man, I just destroyed these guys. Let's go! Unleash everything on all of these dudes. I see a sniper back there. I don't see nothing. We're just unloading. And then, alright. That was chill. Alright, so we gotta find the demon host and kill the... We pretty much need to stop the ritual before she gains enough power. She's got extra power in these. They're not like a normal demon host, so... Alright. We got it. Where do we go, boys? Woo! This is where... Yeah, just so thankful that we have good teammates. Late game is just imperative on everyone kind of knowing their roles and what to do. I mean, hey, look at my health. I'm doing pretty well compared to everybody else's health. I mean, Larks is looking pretty low. Mortem and Ymir. And I'm the ranger, you know, I'm not the up close guy. But I should probably need to pull more weight. It looks like I just don't want to leave them hanging. So here we go. Let's go ahead and, gosh, let's go. Let's go. Unload on that fool. All right. Let's reload. Oh, I should have reloaded with my buff active. Ooh. These dudes, run everybody. They're coming after us. Ah. Alright, back up. Back up. These guys are all armored. And netters. Okay. Cool. I mean, normally getting surrounded by a bunch of guys with as being ranged, it's like orcs going against the Tau. You know what I mean? Orcs will get slaughtered by Tau at range, but then once they get up close, it's pretty game over. You know, they're very fragile. I'm getting out of, you know, I was an orc player as far as the tabletop Warhammer 40K. I'm moving over to Age of Sigmar. More of a fantasy. Same thing though. Not so sci-fi oriented. Oh god. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Brace. 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 That's the only way we're healing. Okay. I was thinking about Grey Knights for the next faction to play with. I do want to get back into orcs again for 40k. I was thinking about the rat colony. That would be really cool for Age of Sigmar. Orcs are honestly the most colorful faction in Warhammer. If I wasn't playing with them, I'd probably move over to Necrons, but right now I technically have like all of my Warhammer models posted on Facebook Marketplace. And yeah, not even for delivery, basically for like pickup or me to deliver personally, just because I don't trust sending Warhammer models off in the mail, especially when they've been pre-built, painted. Yeah. Alright, we need to get out of here. We're surrounded by basically clouds. No. These dudes were tough. Alright, let's replenish our toughness. Like, yeah, I've made like such... Look, we took 3 builds, we took them into late game. We honestly had no real challenges. Well, I say that now, and watch what happens. Basically, I use my skill to reload. I'm just gonna keep going. No one's gonna stop me from shooting. Oh yeah. Oh man, we just did so well. Basically my goal here is to showcase the 3 builds and then show how to play with them like properly. Basically, I've kept myself at range with this build, focused on, you know, being mindful of my ammo. So let's just go ahead and let people know I need ammo, because we're gonna need it for the boss fight. I think there's a boss at the end of this mission here. And this is a really hard mission, actually. The first time I came through this, before I had like complete builds, I failed and I had some challenges, but my build, I think I'd like to say they've been perfected to keep myself alive for durability, toughness, replenishment. The minute I stop playing and taking it serious for the round, that's the quickest way for defeat. Like, if you see how quick a scabber can kill us, how quick a pox dog or a pox hound can really like disable us and then therefore create mobs that do massive damage on us. Okay. So let's keep the health station for them. Well, I do need ammo all for me though. I see. Let's keep dodging for now. Alright. And focus on basically hitting big mobs and replenishing our 50% toughness on hitting three or more people on a swing. And with unarmored enemies like so, this is where the knife comes in handy. On pox walkers and I forget what they call the walkers that aren't deceased. So basically these are all pox walkers. They've been dead, infected by the plague. But the plague brought them to death, and then afterwards now they're pox walkers. But then they're called something else preemptively before death. So they're still human, they still bleed, they suffer, they feel pain. Unlike pox walkers, which are literally like walking carcasses of feel no pains. And so this is showcasing, this is late game, end game, basically like Havoc Assignments. And I'm taking a simple dagger with 162 base power, but I'm keeping myself alive, basically with mobs. It's our attack speed of the dagger that keeps us alive, because if you notice, every attack doesn't replenish toughness like the other 2 builds. It was something to be mindful of. This, holding our gun, replenishes toughness. Shooting at mobs replenishes toughness, but it also takes away our ammo. So, late game, don't shoot just because you can. Definitely be mindful of your ammo and your ammo replenishment, and then the team and how much they consume also. Definitely dodge whenever you hear the scabber. Alright, we want to get these guys back. Uh-oh. Oh! No! I hate that. Thank you, Ymir. You've saved me twice now. I owe you. Who's shooting me? Alright, we've got our toughness back. We're back in our role. Ymir saved the day. Let's stand here and heal for a second. I will say with this game, when you're in a place of a position to hold, it's just like Warhammer. Like, they did such a good job with this game, especially for people who like to play the tabletop. Basically, if we're at our vantage point, you know, and you're trying to hold position, where are you holding position from? If you're in center, you're getting hit from all rounds. So basically, you're relying on your models, on your units, and like, you are the dungeon master. This is what I like about, basically every person is their own character and their dungeon master for their faction that they run. Basically, hey, if you guys want a tutorial on how to play the tabletop version of Warhammer, let me know, and I'll definitely I can make a video. I've got the models. We've got more coming that we're gonna put together and build, like a lot of Age of Sigmar, but you know, let me know. I think there's a bigger consensus behind fantasy, especially with some of the people we were talking to last night. It sounds like a lot more people were fantasy oriented over the darkness or the gothic look of Warhammer. I love this though. I love that it's this desolate gothic looking world overrun by war. The gods don't care about you. You're definitely just, you know, you're on your own. It's super cool. It takes me back to like RoboCop vibes or Mad Max vibes, futuristic vibes for sure. So that was our last build. We'll call that our last mission I go into, and let me just go real quickly, just for the sake of the live stream, and then to fully like encompass how to, if you're in late game, how to really make those numbers bigger for your Ogryn. So let's go back here. Actually, let's leave the party. Leave strike team, because otherwise we'll go back into another mission. We found a good team, stuck with it. Entreat weapons though, so we were working on, although I will admit the Bull Butcher MK3 is a way better, I think, sprite animation than the Krark. I don't think I've ever actually used this one, but let's go back. We want to, they both actually utilize the same blessings, but we want to actually change this one to Momentum 4. And then Carpus armored and unyielding enemies. We want to put that on this perk here. So let's go ahead and do that. We use Consecrate to max it to Transcendent. We empowered it to 500. Now we're going to refine the item. Let's do plus 25% damage on Unyielding. And then 25 on Carpus Armored. That's really going to help out when we get in sticky situations. And then we're going to re-bless Momentum to basically the same thing. Momentum here. Restores 15% instead of the 10. You could change it just to show you guys. Confident Strike, we have 8% toughness on chain hit. You know, technically you could stack this one, Confident Strike, with Momentum, the 8% toughness on chain hit. It's hard to say. I think it's better to keep Momentum on, because if you saw our survivability there. But if you did want to replace Slaughterer with Confident Strike, that could really increase your survivability with this build here. But yeah, that's that's it for that weapon. And just to showcase, I'm not gonna go back into another mission because they're so long. But we did well the whole live stream. We didn't have one single loss, unlike previous live streams. This one I'm gonna keep recorded on the YouTube channel. I think we did fairly well. We showcased the 3 builds. We came out on top with all 3, and we made late game harder missions look very easy. What do you think? Like, leave a comment in the section below. Let me know what you think. Like, is there something else that you wanted to see yourself, or that you're not happy with? And if there's something that you could do better, or that's something that I overlooked, that, you know, I'm up. You know, I'm all ears are open to constructive criticism for sure. My builds are in no shape perfect, but I am in late game. I'm on Havoc Assignments. You know, we're basically using the harder missions. I can go into Damnation and do. I could do very well. Like, yeah, it is a team-based game, so yeah, you can't just rely only on yourself and say that your build's perfect, but I want to say that if, like, taking a look at this, taking a look at what we were doing with these 3 builds in this live stream here, I'd like to think that we did very well. So just want to look at the numbers myself. Basically, with the new dagger, we're looking at 431, and then just a continuous. This is going to showcase the difference between my the brute hammer, or the blunt forced club, the bully club that we use. If you saw, we were doing 1500 DPS. So let me just run to that real quick. So here's our boss killer. Alright, basically, let's see what his damage output. Let's restart that. So we're at 1400 DPS. Let's do it one more time. Basically all light attacks. 1100 DPS, and this is without the stack of our charge. This is just base damage of our light attack. So it looks like 1000 to 1500. So 1400 that time. So yeah, we're looking at 1000 to 1500 DPS for light swings on the boss, and that was on a Carpus armored enemy there. And these are heavily armored, but the brittleness stack. So I'm just trying to, like, show the difference between our light attacks and our builds here. And again, let me just, for mental memory here, DPS 1130. That's damage per second. Okay. And then with this weapon, what were we using? We're using the critical. That's 803. That wasn't a critical applied. Let's see if it does something different. No critical applied. So 2000. Let's try it one more time. 2855. Okay, I'm assuming that a critical was applied there. And just remember, when I brace and hold it for 3 seconds, that's going to give me 10 stacks, adding 50% critical chance. Maybe, let's see what a random person like him would give us. Alright, so I guess without the armor, anywhere from 2400 to 2800 is going to be one of our shots. Alright. Let's switch the operative to the first build. Here, let's take a look at what happens. 809 plus. So that's going to apply the burn stacks. Let's see. Oh, let's try him. Wow. So it's hard to really say if you. I'm not sure what the average DPS for the burner is because. All right, let me kill these guys and just get fresh health on them all. Okay, so we got a fresh guy here. We're not applying any stack here. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Taunt, and then 3,333 was our damage. And let's try it with the Carpus armored enemy here. Oh, he was already weak. Let's try that one more time. 3,439. Alright. Let's try it one more time with the taunt. Basically, I should do more damage to Carpus armored enemies, but taunt, and we're looking at 3,600. Okay. Awesome. So our damage per second with a single strike, but it's not a fair assessment to say that every strike's going to be that, because remember, we lose first strike for 3 seconds. So basically the next strike, let's see what we do for just regular light attacks. Damage per second is going to be 1,000. Damage per second, 2249. So definitely when you see that we're adding on. So I guess with these guys with the shields, I do have the stagger. So we want to push and then hit them. I wonder if it takes away our first strike if we push. So let's find out. It doesn't? Awesome. So let's wait for it. Actually, we could just taunt and then hit them with it. 333 just like last time. 3333. Alright. So this one's meant for the first strike impact damage. It's good going against the bulwarks. Remember this paired with his toughness. We're basically synergizing that with his aura and his ability. Loyal Protector. Basically, you're taunting enemies, gaining aggro. This no pain, you're basically replenishing 10% toughness for each one per enemy affected. So imagine using this in a crowd. And then lastly, Loyal Protector, you're basically taking 25% dace. Everyone affected is going to take more damage. So on the taunt, they'll be coming after you, but they're taking 25 extra damage. That mixed with your attack speed of like the dagger, or we're not even using the dagger, sorry. Basically, that just mixed with your regular light attack is going to do really well. So that's the end of this build. We already showcased this one. The only thing I didn't do is show the bleed stack. So basically, I could combat, bleed stack, and then let's see what damage per second is. 3,600. So those were light attacks, not a single heavy attack. Unlike now we're at 1430. Let's do it one more time. 1180. So it's going to average anywhere from, like before, 1,000 to 1,500. And that's without any stacks applied. Let's see what happens on a heavy strike, and then yeah, because I think the heavy strike will apply more brittleness. 1556. 1538. Okay. So basically, spamming our light attacks, we're going anywhere from 11 to 15 on DPS. Our tank build, he's swinging a single strike for up to 3,333. And then lastly, this is our favorite build we were running. we're not doing damage. This isn't meant to be a DPS for melee. If you see, it takes a while to kill them. 663 was his damage, but if I'm being surrounded by big armored or basically they do really well versus unarmored enemies. Let's see what the damage per second is here. So we don't have a charge. Yeah, so it's not a good assessment to show off the abilities of the dagger versus armored enemies, but this is basically to keep myself alive on swinging on 3 or more enemies at a time. Unarmored enemies are affected versus slash, like attributes on weapons, but the real beauty is this gun and mixed with our... So let's see. We definitely let's see what concentration does. I'm actually not sure, but we want to find an armored enemy like him. Aim and ooh, that's not great. So DPS was 543. And let's take a look at the gun. What do we have? So we're doing flak armored and carpus armored. I mean, that is actually, I think he's a carpus armored enemy. Let's check. Yeah, he is. And that was with the skill applied. So let's take a look at what our damage for our grenades do. They're applying the stacks of damage there. I mean, you know, it's wild how quick that we took out a boss, you know, but they also don't have the heavy carpus armored. So let's take a look at him. Let's just reload first. And activate skill. Ooh, that was quick. I mean, that it definitely just bullets through everybody if you see. And this is damnation stats, so we're on the hardest difficulty. And then now let's see what my... Alright, so that does increase my damage output. And then with the kill, that's going to stack and increase my damage output, or at least strength for the dagger. But we definitely don't want to be using this weapon here and going into mobs filled with a lot of these guys here. We could replace the chain, or we could replace the replenishment toughness with the chain hit. But I think this is a good showcasing of what needs to be done. Technically, you just use your grenades. Even on a guy like this, I know it's not quick work, but we'll throw our grenade out and then just make short work. This is Carpus Armored is what I technically want to showcase the most of, because in late game we're going to be going against so much heavy armored people. If they don't have the armor, then even that flak armor, if you saw, just everything generally eats the bullets. Throwing grenade into crowds, but remember we're gaining toughness replenishment on 10% of the magazine spent, and then we're also gaining our strength percentage based off of percent spent. So once I unload a full clip, use that skill, and then it automatically reloads, so that's basically maximizing your damage per second too. I'd say our hardest, we're not that great versus Carpus armored enemies, so we definitely need that perk on the blessing. And just for fun, I think the one that does, like this, my least favorite build, does the most damage, so just for fun, this was a Carpus armor taking a single hit for 3,000, and that was just a, you know, a single charged attack. 3842 on an unyielding enemy. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Let me know in the comment section below what build you found, or at least what was your favorite build and which one you might find yourself using. We'll end the stream here. Again, this was our tank. And don't let the tank fool you. This is the tank. He's doing heavy damage. This is a charged first strike. Oh, he was already damaged, but yeah, he's a tank. He's adding toughness replenishment to the team and defense, but if you see that DPS, that's 3,600, but that's synergized with the first strike, so those numbers will go down on repeated strikes. So a fair assessment would be light attack. That's, you know, your basic DPS damage per second is going to be 1,300. Our Rumbler, this is just basically for fun, adding to fire stacks, keeping people at bay, delaying, knockback, etc. Crowd control. This synergize. We're basically just trying to keep ourselves alive. Mix this with the taunt. It'll make everybody come after you, increasing your damage per second. So, you know, we'll taunt. Mix that with the... Ooh, that's not a good showcase. Alright, but you guys generally get the idea. That was our tank, doing 3,600 damage per second, and I'm sure we can bring those numbers up. And I'm curious, just one more thing, the Rumbler... Oh no. I might actually have the wrong weapon attached to... No, it should be the... Okay, it was spammed. Okay. Just real quick for my own peace of mind, I'd like to see what damage output... There's not really a big damage... It's not showing us like a big damage number for these. 3,206. So with the Ogryns, our grenades do stick. If it's not armored, we're looking at anywhere from 2,200 to 3,000 in damage for the grenade. This one here for the Bully Club, remember we're basing it off of, let me just kill this guy real quick. Okay. And same here. Critical hits are, we can stack our critical hits chances. So a Carpus Armored can take 1,100, a regular 2,600, 3,200. So anywhere from 36 or 26 to 3,200 is our damage that we're putting out for the kickback. And that's imperative for the boss killer build because basically we can run up and put every pellet into someone and switch to increase our damage output. And so even on a Carpus Armored with, let's say we charge in, apply the stack, damage per second. Oh, that wasn't a good... it's not... I gotta wait until I replenish that. So we're looking at 1,200 to 1,500 for damage per second on just a light attack. Let's try hitting him with the rock. So the rock will stun him, but damage per second was 1,000. So let's try this. Damage per second was 1,500. I bet the number would be higher without the rock, but the rock is there for the stun or hitting the weak point. We'll do it one more time. wait till the thing. Let's wait for the charge to go up. We're almost done here. Okay, we'll charge in and then immediately go right into the attack. Damage per second. Oh shit, 3,600. So it looks like we're definitely delaying the damage per second with the rock. But again, some of those times it doesn't matter to me because I don't want to include the impact or the first strike. Basically what we're doing is those stacks do apply, and that DPS will generally go up the longer that we keep swinging and keep attacking instead of going down. Yeah. So we have, that's the showcase for the boss killer, applying bleed stacks and utilizing that. And remember, this number will go up. It sucks that he's not surrounded by more people, because if we were to actually charge into a group or a mob, like, let's see, like, it's not going to actually showcase it properly, but then when you swing into the mob, your DPS is generally going up even more, because it's applied for every bleed stack on every individual person. Lastly, this is the last build that we used in the stream. Dagger is only to be, we're utilizing the dagger for its fast attack speed to replenish toughness on every 3 enemies hit. It's meant for poxwalkers and unarmored enemies, big mobs. We really need a big team to help us. We are a ranged unit, so generally we're just here. When we're braced, we're replenishing toughness on every hit and on holding our weapon, basically bracing the weapon. It's our way of building defense and then keeping damage output consistent. Lastly, we have our explosions. Grenades are meant to pretty much just delay attacks, keep everybody at bay. You can throw it down to even revive an opponent. And the big build for this is our, let me kill this guy real quick so I can show him fully health. Alright, so the maniac is out. We use our skill and brace. Alright, so we're looking at 4,000 damage. That was 2,600 damage per second. I mean, and that's being applied to literally everybody around. Mobility, reload speed, and sustainability, basically keeping your cursor center. All of that synergizes with this skill that we would be using. But yeah, I hope this was a good showcase. I'm gonna go ahead and exit the meat grinder here, and if we had more time, I'd jump back in to probably like one more match, but we're gonna call it quits here. So that's the end of the stream. That's the meat. That's the melter, the burner, whatever you want to call it. That's the last build. Our boss killer being our second build, and our very first build was the tank. And just to give you guys one more look at the talents here, this is our ranged build, the melter. Not all that different looking, but basically we're sticking to the right side and we're focusing on maximum firepower, burst limiter override, coward culling, and the point blank barrage with its synergies for burn stacks, and then lastly bombs away for just for the explosions that synergize with this build. That's the melter. This here is the tank, the one that's swinging for 3,600 damage with the pickaxe on first strike. But we've got our debuffer, friendly rock. We have replenishment on, basically we have loyal protector for taunting, gaining toughness on every person's hit, and then we also have with basically everybody affected by loyal protector takes an additional 25% base damage. And then lastly, this aura here. This is what's keeping everybody alive. Plus 15% toughness and replenishment for you and for allies. And we're back over here on this side, like the boss killer. Basically, we're using this as our keystone heavy hitter to add more to our melee damage output, and that stacks with every damage and attack hit. Lastly, this here is our boss killer. This is a personal one of mine that I didn't this is mine. This is just personally just mine that I created from scratch, that I didn't bother kind of taking notes from other people's. So generally same thing as before, we're just adding the linchpin for 50% coherency toughness regeneration, the rock for the debuff, weak spot. Basically, I didn't just stick to the left side for melee. I added the extra damage for basically plus 50% damage for 5 seconds after a successful dodge or being hit by an attack. So if I'm getting hit, I'm getting extra damage output, or if I'm dodging, basically either or. It's perfect for the Ogryn build. Okay, we're also getting plus 20% damage resistance versus ranged on hits by range. So this is synergizing with this. We're keeping ourselves alive here. The reload speed when reloading an empty clip, that's going well for the kickback that we're using in this build. And then our toughness boost, that's an essential. I'm not just going to stick to toughness damage reduction. Basically all of these is what really made this square here of nodes is what made my build very particular. This too, the linchpin, I know a lot of people do without. Everybody sticks to the diamond here, going off to the left side, getting the rock, and then staying to the left side, moving down to Indomitable, and then that. So this, we are adding the blood stacks. So apply 5 stacks of bleed on enemies, and then we have the Bone Breaker Aura, which is adding another 10% melee attack damage. Let's see, this synergizes with the dagger hitting a weak spot, and then inflict 2 stack of bleed on melee hit, increase to 4 on heavy. We don't do heavy, but this synergized with this. We're trying to increase our bleed stacks, and then on top of our keystone heavy hitter. So we've got bleed stacks. Those are synergizing with my melee damage on every melee attack hit. This stacks 8 times, synergizing with Don't Feel a Thing, synergizing with Just Getting Started, and synergizing with Impactful. This is really making us the boss killer that we are, outputting heavy on the damage. And then remember, we are synergizing all of our nodes with the weapons. It's not enough to have the skill. You can't just have a pretty weapon that you like. These are late game builds meant for late game play, so your builds have to be perfect. If you saw how quick I brought that Carpus Armored enemy down, look at my perk. It's plus 25% to Carpus Armored. That's why I'm destroying them so quickly. That's 15,000 to 2,600 on DPS for a Bully Club light attack. Look at my light attack. We're not looking at anything special here. I haven't even decided to bring a Bully Club up yet. I'm still working on building a Bully Club up to, make a good one like that dagger we made. So this is just a basic transcendent, probably something I found, and then just put the blessings on that we needed, but not a meta weapon. We're putting a heavy, like I said, 1,500 to 2,600 damage output for light attacks on Carpus Armored enemies. We're keeping alive with Confident Strike, and then that Thunderous. Don't forget, this is also what brought that health down so quick on the Carpus Armored. Hitting an enemy gives them 4 stacks of brittleness. We can have a maximum of 16, so on 4 hits, 2.5 times 16, whatever that number is, obviously well over 30 something. Well over 32. That's really good, brittleness. So we want to attach brittleness to monstrosities or carpus armored or unyielding armored enemies. Yeah, just keep in mind how there's a reason why our builds were effective. It wasn't just putting our nodes into the talents. It's as knowing what they do and then how they pair with our weapons and then their perks and blessings. And same here, the flak armored we're going for in maniacs for the kickback. But full bore, you could replace that. There are better blessings. I just like to have a kick on increasing my strength. Basically, I thought it'd be cool to run in after a charge, hit him with a shot, and then switch over to melee to really for the long run for 5 seconds. Technically my damage per second should be going up throughout the continuity of attacking through those 5 seconds. The numbers are there. You know, I'm sure there's an algorithm or some kind of equation you can create yourself with these numbers and really maximize. I know that's what people do online to find the best output for their builds, but this is just me, my experience with the game, all the years that I've played, and then here we are late game and I'm making it look like it's easy. Nothing special. I'm not a great player. I just think I have really good builds here that keep me alive. Right before we end the stream, one more time, we've got our tank. We have our boss killer, and then we have our the melter, basically relying heavily on our ranged weapons. Keep note, maybe pause or slow the stream wherever I showed the talent tree. Yeah, and yeah, let's end it here. If you guys enjoyed this content and you want to see more like this, more Darktide or any other games, leave a comment in the section below and let me know. Constructive criticism is definitely needed for a growing stream like myself. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who's like, just want to say thanks to everybody